Welcome to Rocket League Sunday. This is the Gfinity Elite Series presented by Alienware. Right now, we're live around Australia on 10 Peach and it's semi-finals time.
We are looking forward to knockout gameplay today at its very best. Two teams are making their semi-final debuts in Brisbane Deceptors and Sydney Roar. Melbourne Order are fighting to defend their title, while Sydney Chiefs are looking to set the record straight after a shock loss at this stage in Season 1.
Yeah, after today's best of 7 matches, there will only be 2 teams left standing. Leading the pack are the Deceptors, who clutched top spot on the ladder thanks to a season-defining win last weekend against Roar.
I was feeling pretty confident. I was feeling really good, like on stage and ready to win. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of breezy. I'm not gonna lie.
They've left that net open for Jake. My oh my.
Honestly, I got no words. It's just amazing. To 3-0 Sydney Roar.
And the steal from Steve. Oh man.
They weren't playing up to like the standards today, for sure. I've noticed that in defense they're really struggling a lot, and we took that to our advantage and took the W.
Sydney Deceptors.
Let's go! Man. This 3-0? Let's freaking go.
I wasn't really in full control of myself. I sort of just jumped up and, thought about it afterwards. I thought, oops, that was a bit maybe too much, but I was definitely very happy.
We have been experiencing those high-pressure situations, so I'm hoping those experiences can help. It's really hard to practice that kind of thing at home.
It's true, like I have been getting better every week, and it's only going to keep getting better.
Brisbane Deceptors win the whole series because Steve is absolutely nutty.
Yes, the Deceptors are brimming with confidence. So too are our amazing analysts back at the desk. Of course, it's Yummy Cheese Man. And joining him this week, Courier Lord Thompson. And give them both a round of applause, guys.
I love you. Love you too, buddy.
Oh, beautiful stuff. Yes, now Deceptors have been taking the competition by storm this season. They've only dropped just 1 game during league play. How do you reckon they'll go under pressure today, Tom?
I think they're going to be fine with the pressure. Steve's shown a lot of growth. Under Jake's tutelage, there's been so much potential that's actually being reached and maintained.
Okay, well, Melbourne Order are still kicking. Yummy, they've lifted their game in recent weeks. Do you think they're peaking at the right time here?
They are, but I don't know if it's quite going to be enough. They haven't hit that mark. They're going to have a really big series today if they want to get into the grand final.
Well, let's confirm the order of our semi-finals today, which Melbourne Order are in. Best of 7 game series. We kick off with Brisbane Deceptors taking on Sydney Chiefs. Deceptors captain Jake gets another crack at his former club Chiefs, who were knocked out of the semi-finals in Season 1. And title holders Melbourne Order are taking on Sydney Roar, who are looking to go back-to-back against the current champs after winning their last clash in the opening round of Season 2. So let's have a look at the lineups for the first match right now. First up, we have the ladder leading Deceptors. What do you reckon? Yeah, some fans in for them today.
Really big growth season for these guys too. And you saw Jake in week 1. He scored 11 of their goals. But last week, it was both Jake and Steve scoring just as many goals in that oh-so-crucial win over Raw.
The important thing for me, though, is Steve has started to be a little more confident. He's been moving forward. And he's actually finished all the goals last week that were in the pivotal moments that decided the match, with Jake supporting him leading up to that.
They're so good under pressure. They've been really cool, calm and collected. They've scored so many 0-second goals this season. They are a clutch team.
Yeah, well, Jake's influence on the Deceptors team has definitely been massive. Brisbane didn't feature in the semi-finals of Season 1, but Courier Lord, since Jake has turned up, he's really brought out the best in his teammates, hasn't he?
He's a professional coach. He works internationally as that, and he's brought out the best in a team with a lot of talent. These are really young guys that have really hit the scene hard and fast. And we're seeing that come out with the way he's bringing them together. Each of them find their place. He's further at the back, and Steve just getting faster every week.
And you can really see it come out in this gameplay as well. He's leading the charge in this spot. He's the person who finishes off these goals, and he's worked so closely with Steve and Yeatsy. The fact that he can play alongside them while coaching them really helps out the team.
Yeah, well, here's a look at some of the Season 2 stats for Jake. Let's have a look. He's been really dominant in both attack and defence, hasn't he, Yummy?
Yeah, massive. He's got the most goals of the entire season. 11 of them, as I said, came from that week 1. But he's continually, week after week, getting goals. He's got 1.33 goals per game. That is monumental, maybe even the highest in Gfinity history. And he is going from strength to strength this season.
Yeah, he's maintained that shot percentage as well. So even if he doesn't get a ton of opportunities, his ability to convert is fantastic. And the fact he can rely on his teammates to follow up as well means that even if he doesn't score, he set them up to be in a good position.
Well, Jake will be looking for an improved team performance against Chiefs this time around, and Ash is having a chat with him right now.
Thanks so much, Luke. Oh my gosh, Jake, you guys are top of the table at the moment. What do you think is the secret to your team's success?
We worked pretty hard this season. We really made sure we were practicing every day. We tried to be like really open as a team, make sure we don't hate each other too much. that is a really big problem that teams have. So maybe some of that.
Okay, so last season, let's talk last season. You were with the Chiefs. You had a surprising loss to Avant. So how much does this semi-final mean to you personally?
Yeah, no, that semi-final was pretty rough, I won't lie. We've taken the lessons from it though. So I'm hoping to really, be able to step up this semi-finals.
So how is Steve and Yeatsy feeling? You guys all feeling confident? You in good spirits today?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty calm. Again, like, you got to just treat it like any other game. It's like, if you get too pressured by it, you'll just screw up. So we're trying to stay calm and relaxed.
So you're up against two players that you played with last season. You've got Drippe and Torsos. So do you have any advice for them?
Advice for them? No, they're great players. It should be a good game. I'm not toxic.
Oh, awesome. I love that. All right, I'm looking forward
really
to...
toxic, actually.
Oh, okay then. Well, I'm excited to see you play out there. Thanks so much for chatting and get out there.
Sweet, thanks.
All right, back to you, Luke.
Yeah, best of luck, Jake. And Deceptors, they finished on top of the standings at the end of league play with 12 points from 4 wins and only 1 loss. Along the way, there were clean sweeps against Avant, Ground Zero and Raw. Cheeseman, it really has been great to see Steve and Yeatsy growing over the season, hasn't it?
For sure. They weren't even considered, I guess, top 4 teams in the past. Those two have been playing together for a while, but now they're really coming out of their shell. They look like top players. They're in the top position, and now they need to just show it in the largest stakes that there is.
Yeah, speaking of the largest stakes, let's talk a little bit about the Sydney Chiefs. Their starting roster has just come back from overseas competition for this week's semi-final. Tom, they're back. It's a formidable lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, they're absolute monsters. Everyone that follows Rocket League knows the Chiefs. Drippe is the man you have to watch in OC. Absolute monster, most offensive and powerful player leading the charge. But there's a strong bunch of guys backing him in Kami and Torso.
And they took down Brisbane Deceptors 3-0 during the regular season. It was not a close match at all, but with Brisbane Deceptors growing and Chiefs having I guess a few weeks where they have some rough performances and the semi-final performance where they lost to Avant last season, you know that anything can happen here.
Yeah, well, this time last season, Sydney Chiefs came into the semi-finals as unbackable favourites to advance to the grand final, but it turned sour when they lost to Melbourne Avant. Torsos will be hoping for a very different outcome today, I'd imagine, Cheeseman. He's been pretty reliable this season, though, hasn't he?
I would say in his first match when he came back, he was a monster. He scored 2.33 goals per game. But then against Raw, it was just a completely different Torsos. If we see that same Torsos today, it is going to be a problem. If we see the best Torsos that we saw earlier in the season, they'll just completely sweep it. So I think it does really rely on how he goes.
I mean, you got to look at Torsos across the seasons as well. He's someone that's been in the industry for so long. Like, we can look at last season, Gfinity, where he was the leading goal scorer, essentially, with the massive conversion rate he had. I think it was about 44%. So he may not have as many games played this season because he's been competing internationally, which is always a great thing, but longevity, right? He's been phenomenal.
I mean, he's only played 6 games, and really it all comes down to this. It doesn't matter what they did during the season. It is down to the performance on the day.
Well, he is the leading goal scorer from the club's starting roster right now. Oh, there we can see the stats in him right now, Legends. What do you reckon? Pretty strong stuff?
1 goal a game, that's pretty solid across the board. I think Kami and Drippe have gone just behind him as well. I think Torsos here, he could just simply run away with 10 goals across the series, though.
Well, we look at him last time. Last time they versed Deceptors, Torsos single-handedly scored more goals than the Deceptors' entire roster.
Yeah.
So if you want to look at someone that's going to tear them apart, Torsos has a fair chance.
Well, let's see how he's feeling right now. We're going to hear from him on how he's been preparing for semi-finals.
So Torsos, you were here at the semi-finals. Must be pretty exciting. How have you been preparing for that?
We've just been at the Chiefs' house all week grinding scrims and ranked, so feel pretty prepared.
So last time, Chiefs actually surprisingly lost to Avant last season. So how have you been preparing for this time around?
I think our mentality was a big problem last season coming into that game. Definitely won't make that mistake again. It should be a lot cleaner.
Well, you're up against Deceptors, and Jake is one of your ex-teammates from the Chiefs from last season. Is there anything that you want to say to him or anything that you're looking out for specifically?
Not anything specific to him, but should be a quick 4-0 just like last season.
There's some strong words. Do you actually think you're going to take it 4-0 today?
It was 3-0 in league play, so if we just keep up that form, should be.
So what do you think about them being the top of the standings this time around? Because you did clean sweep them, I think, in week 3. So you're going to knock them off the top of the table?
I think they got a bit fortunate with the results. I don't think being top... I think it's like probably the weakest team in the top 4 and they came first. So I don't know. I think it should be pretty free.
All right, you seem pretty confident. Best of luck out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
That's it from me. Back to you guys.
Let's have a look right there. That's the road to finals for the Chiefs, as we can see. What do you reckon of that, lads?
I mean, it's a bit of a weird one to look at because they had 2 different rosters that alternated through the series. So whilst we can see a lot of wins there, a lot of the losses were not with this team. So that's a poor reflection of how they would have gone had they had the whole roster the whole way through.
I guess the one real big indicator was that loss to Raw. I think especially they're already going to be looking at the grand final, looking at their match against Raw there and seeing how can we work towards that. Of course, you have to get through the first stage right now, and they took down 3-0 for Brisbane Deceptors. So I think they're going to be pretty confident.
Okay, well, let's welcome our first semi-final team out to the arena, guys. I want you to go absolutely nuts. It's semi-final week. It's crucial matches for these legends. So please go crazy for Brisbane Deceptors. Steve, Jake and Yeeksy. And now give it up to their opponents today. Make some noise for Sydney Chiefs. Cami, Drippe and Torsos. Huge semi-final match, just moments away. Make sure you follow at Gfinity AU on socials to be notified when we go live on CSGO, Rocket League and Street Fighter. On the way to a break, Melbourne Avant and Perth Ground Zero tell us who they think will take out this season's Gfinity Elite Series.
To me, it's between Chiefs and Raw, but Raw have been beating Chiefs like every time that they've played them recently, so I'm probably going to give it to Raw.
If Raw show up like they can do for finals and actually play their game, don't compromise how they're playing, I feel like they can take it all the way.
If I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Chiefs would be winning this one. But it really depends. Raw can definitely take it to them in the finals. They've beaten them before.
Raw have to win this. They've got Chiefs' number, which is their main opponent in this, so I can't look past them.
Chiefs definitely have a great chance, but Raw have defeated them pretty much every time they've played them recently, so I'd have to give it to Chiefs.
Coming back from an international LAN, I think Chiefs will probably come back hitting pretty hard. That being said, if Jake can really guide these new players of his in Deceptors, I think they could have a real shot too.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Callum Murray.
Callum Murray.
Callum Murray.
Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare iced coffee.
3 days ago, Coda announced that Zero would join Cell 7 in the upcoming Soma Worlds tournament. After so many league victories, switching teams this close to the tournament appears to be a deliberate move to destroy Coda's chance at the title.
Welcome back to the Gfinity Elite Series. We are gearing up for our first Rocket League semi-final between Brisbane Deceptors and Sydney Chiefs, thanks to Dare Ice Coffee and Astro headsets. You can see the teams getting in the zone. They're about to kick off. Everything on the line today. Before we join our casters and get into it, though, time's running out to win a brand new Alienware M15 laptop this season. It's the thinnest and lightest 15-inch Alienware gaming notebook ever. There are 9 different ways to enter, so go to gfinityesports.com.au for all details on that. We'll announce the winner next weekend, and it's all thanks to Alienware and Gfinity Esports Australia. Right now, Yummy Cheeseman and Courier Lord, I have to ask you, legends, do you have a prediction on how this is going to go? I'll go to you first, Tom. What do you reckon?
I think it's going to be Chiefs, but I am a little bit worried that if Deceptors get an early lead, it'll tilt the Chiefs and they'll just get absolutely wiped.
So you think they could get tilted and be out of the game?
Yeah, but I'm going to back them despite, because Chiefs are so strong, I don't think they drop the first 2.
What about you, Yummy?
I have to look at history, and history says there was a 3-0 against Brisbane Deceptors. They're going to do it again. Another solid victory for Chiefs.
3-0?
No, it won't be 3-0 because it's the best of 7,
oh, yeah,
Luke.
Good point. Okay.
What do you...
I thought they might play so well it changes the rules.
Yeah, maybe. But also when we do look at history, they lost last season.
Yeah.
So there is a chance here, but I have to give it to the Chiefs.
Chiefs both back in Chiefs. Well, we'll find out right now, guys. It's time to get across to our casters for the opening semi-final match. And like salmon and soy milk, these two are the perfect pair. It's James Cowan and Jake Ozipenko.
Yeah, thanks very much, Luke. A great intro as always. This is Jim Nesso. I'm Hysterics. We're about to jump into our very first semi-final here. And like history, things could repeat themselves here. Torsos backstage. I guess he didn't learn his lesson from last time. It's going to be a 4-0. It's going to be easy, Jim Nesso, quote unquote.
Well, I mean, he's thrown the gauntlet down almost off the bat, hasn't he? But you've got to come into this game confident. It's semi-finals time. And if you've got championship credentials like the Chiefs, you've got to back yourself.
Of course, before we get into it, though, Jim Nesso, we have to reward you for sticking around. Head to gfinity.incentloyalty.com and use the drop code on your screen, GOCTANE, before we jump into the semi-finals to earn some currency. You've only got limited time to go to the website and enter that drop code and get paid. You receive 20 incent now instead of the regular 5 or 10 that we did in previous week, all weekend long. Don't worry about missing the action. You can keep watching the match from the rewards website, so get to it. I got through that eventually. A couple of stumbles, but Jim, that's a 9 out of 10, I reckon. Hey, Brisbane Deceptors, they performed like absolute legends last week. They dominated Sydney Raw. So the question I put forward is, why can't they do the same to the Chiefs?
I think it's one of those hoodoo things. I think it's also a big mental step for them to now just take on a region champion like the Chiefs. And these guys for so long have held the mantle, but let's just see whether or not they can maintain that.
Well, we jump into the semi-finals, Deceptors and Sydney Chiefs. It is elimination time once again, best of 7. And starting out with game number 1, it's going to be so important here in front of the net, Brisbane Deceptors. We speak about starting, and this is exactly where they want to be. Against the Raw last week, game 3 went into OT and led to their victory, 3-0. The Chiefs in regular league play, 3-0 the Deceptors. There's a lot of stats flying around. The Chiefs have just come off the back of E-League, finishing 5th this time. So they are world champions in a sense of the top echelon of players in Rocket League.
This is where Brisbane Deceptors need to get themselves off to the ideal start, back themselves in. They need to defend their net. Chiefs are going to come out strong.
A bit high there, going wide. Kami for the 3rd. Denied a little bit. Able to push up. Brisbane Deceptors trying to punish that defense. A good pass back, but Yeezy playing around with that corner. Pinch works for no one except the Chiefs. Waiting around the corner. Intercept still trying to come through. That's a breach in the defense there off the backboard. Yeezy cannot find the demolition onto Torsos. Or the bump.
Brisbane Deceptors right now need to make sure that they get those rotations on point, make sure they defend their net solidly, because Chiefs are always going to put pressure on. Their transition from attack to defense and back again is so quick, it's so fluid, and it's based on a very, very strong passing game.
Both teams pretty happy to pass back as well. That's a sign of confidence. It's good to see from the Deceptors. Steven to Torsos. It's not a good move because Kami's coming in, but a win over by Jake just ends up being a pass for Drippay. Towards net again. Jake should be able to get the angle on this. Passes it to the wall of Yeezy. Steve hanging back too. The defense of Chiefs eventually do get the clear. That one's on net. Jake, can he save it? It eventually hits the side post. Doesn't go in. Almost saved the day there. It was just a side post in action. Boost taken. Good infield to Drippay, but he's not on target. Torsos is. Another save comes through. Surprise. No goal just yet here in the first game. I have to say, that's an advantage for the Deceptors.
It is, but these infield passes from the Chiefs are so dangerous because they're resulting in a shot on net. And a few times here, Brisbane Deceptors have looked a little frazzled, but they maintained thus far.
Kami, he can't find the angle. Torsos has no pace in that ball either. Runs it past their old teammate. Yeezy up for the ball. Good defense there from Brisbane Deceptors, but Drippay going to be a bit of a menace with the dribble play here. Torsos gets through, but a save somehow by Yeezy. We'll come into a collision course with the ball. Kami there, setting it up once more. It's Chiefs Drippay back in. Torsos, that's a massive clear from the Deceptors. All the pressure is now off. The pinch will kind of reciprocate that, but look at Steve. He set it up for Yeezy. Kami doesn't get any momentum there either. Jake comes back through. Waiting in the midfield is Steve off the corner. It'll center Steve for the double hit. No result. Torsos with the pass, but it doesn't end up being one. They hang around in the midfield. The Deceptors pretty good on the defense.
They are, and they're just absorbing wave after wave of Chiefs attack. And last week they were so fast, aggressive, and bumping left, right, and centre. We haven't seen that thus far, but it is only game 1 in this best-of-7 series.
Well, we did see the demo there just to add to some of that aggression in the defense there, trying to disrupt Jake, but Steve and Yeezy are doing enough in the midfield, it doesn't really matter. The pass down to Yeezy hits the roof. Not really a stretch for Kami at this point. A minute remaining. He's taking the ball the full length of the field. No counter-attack actually initiated here. Drippay comes through. Jake's going to look for the challenge as well. Jake wins it over. Should be able to get through Torsos, who's just missed the ball. 2 members here still on the defensive side of Chiefs. 45 seconds. Jake crosses the ball. As Kami makes it hit the roof, that's a great second touch. What can Drippay do with it? Well, Kami and Drippay both come in. Torsos will come in off the wing too, from the corner. Able to push the ball with a bit more of that pace. The mid-air bump there from Chiefs. Kami will take the shot onto the backboard. Drippay's here. What a touch in. The finisher there. And that's the first goal for the Chiefs.
And that was such a long period where Brisbane Deceptors were on their own line. They were defending, and the backboard play from Chiefs is superb. It eventually cracks the defense, and they find their first goal.
Man, Drippay should have got that in as well. But it's great to see the momentum from Chiefs on that attack finally has a result. And that result with 25 seconds to go is that one goal. Torsos, the clear, the passion. Trying to move it into a Midnight All Song, Jim, but just didn't get there. 15 seconds remaining. Pop up from Jake. This is great from Brisbane Deceptors. Jake still gets it through. He finds it. Oh, Jakey boy. You saw him do this in the Chiefs. You saw the confidence of this player. He takes it the length of the field himself, beats out 2 defenders, and sends it home right where it belongs.
And this is what Jake needs to do. Lead from the front. These 2 young players he's brought under his wing. He needs to show them the way forward, and that is a great way to get Brisbane Deceptors back into this match.
And the defense here is going to be necessary because there's no pace towards the midfield. Kami will have one last chance, but Jake with a good touch there will result in a clear. Torsos reacts to it. Kami pops it up, hang on. The backboard there, pressured. Jake sends it over to the side. Yeezy with the defense. Keep it going, overtime, game 1 of the semi-finals. Not bad.
This is delivering already. This is only game 1. This is the best-of-7 series, so plenty more Rocket League to play yet, but Brisbane Deceptors need to put their best foot forward.
Oh, wow, what a touch through from Steve. Unfortunately, it's a bit wide for Yeezy, but with the demo in net, Jake sets it up. Yeezy's here. He'll pop it through. Unfortunately, positioning is not going to work in favour. Pinch on the offense. Chiefs turn it into their own. A great clear by Jake. 25 seconds now. Kami waiting. Slowly. Yeezy comes through. Steve still here. There's no boost on the side of Chiefs in the defense. Stolen away by Steve once more. These big clears are making work for the Chiefs with the infield on them. A good block by Steve. Look at the defense here through the Chiefs. They can't punch through on the side of Deceptors, but a miss there by Torsos. Recovered well by Kami.
Brisbane Deceptors as well. They're starting to challenge these passes in field. They're not letting them have shots for free, essentially, and that's been a big...
Steve! Not sure that was the best touch, but Torsos capitalises the intercept there from the Chiefs. And that'll be game number 1. You can see what Steve was trying to go for there, but Torsos was still around, and that just opens up the net for him. So game 1 to the Chiefs, but it wasn't exactly clean from either side.
No, there was a few moments there where you thought Brisbane Deceptors were starting to work themselves into the match quite well, and Unfortunately for them, they cracked at the final moment there. They got it into OT. There's some great solo work from Jake to bring the team back in to contention. It was a low-scoring affair. It wasn't until the final 30 seconds that we saw some action.
I think for the Chiefs, probably weren't expecting to be under that kind of pressure. One goal on either side in regulation, Jim. That was it.
That's all it needed to be as well. We said the stakes are high in this match. Obviously, you know, Brisbane Deceptors, they're a young side. You can talk for days about the pressure on these guys and the way that they've had to stand up and, I guess, absorb that. But more importantly, then now had to defeat a giant that the Chiefs.
And look, it was one mistake. It was one moment again that changed for the Deceptors. In regular league play, Deceptors only lost by a couple of points each and every game. So it wasn't really a smashing from the Chiefs. And that's what we're seeing here again, that it's so close. The Chiefs just managed to push through in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I felt as though in the early stages of that game as well, Brisbane Deceptors were just sitting back and letting Chiefs come at them. In the later stages of the match, they actually gained a little bit more confidence. They were a little bit freer in the way that they played and went forward and started to attack the net a lot more. And that yielded better results for them. And they weren't under pressure for long periods of the game. And it showed.
The attack, Stephen Yeatsy, though, they definitely showed us their proficiency, their growth so far in this tournament. The Deceptors weren't expected to be at this point, but here they are. To start this upset, to start this train rolling in game number 2 as we move in now. They have to keep up that pace against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, 4th best team in the world from Oceania. They've set history, they've set records, and the Deceptors are trying to set one themselves. And so we begin again. 1 goal the difference in OT. Demolition on the defensive side, and that really moves us into this second game.
I think they need to bring some heat and some aggression into this. Maybe try and get Chiefs off their game somewhat. They played a great counter to Sydney Raw last week with that faster, aggressive, bump style of game, and haven't seen it thus far this week. Maybe trying a different approach and just need to do something different. It was a great first match for them, but they need to get themselves into this with the second.
Well, good bumps all around. Bit of aggression already being played out. That ball straight to Kami off the backboard. Steve can't defend it. Drippe comes in. The demo in net saves it as well. The Chiefs are on the board to start us off in game 2.
And this is signature Chiefs stuff. Kami there with a demolition. No hope. There was no one around. The defender could only float in front of it and hope that the shot was directed their way.
Yeah. You can see that the Chiefs starting to amp up their game. Even off the kickoff, infield doesn't do too much. The competition from Deceptors so far has been great. It's been outstanding. The Chiefs, of course, rolling with the best of it. And looking clinical in a lot of these moments too. Around the midfield, they hold control. That's a great intercept here. The push through into the middle. Kami will be great on defense too. Yeatsy comes through. There's another demo. Steve with the pass up. That looks like Yeatsy again. The bump through. Chiefs now finally getting off the defense. This is Steve. Yeatsy misses the ball. Jake goes up for defense to the backboard. That second touch might be crucial here. Steve goes over the ball. The Brisbane Deceptors, their positioning still saving their lives. What a pass to Torstov. Oh. Jake struggles to defend it, and so you would. It was like a bullet into the back of their net.
And it was just a flat shot as well. Jake wasn't anticipating that whatsoever, and straight into the back. There's not a lot that could be done for the Brisbane Deceptors, and this is Chiefs starting to gain some confidence going forward, and if they're not careful, Brisbane Deceptors, the floodgates will open. Chiefs, when they're confident, they can pour goals on you like nothing else.
And I think out of any of the semi-finals, I would have picked this one to be the upset, but right now, Chiefs are making it look easy. And they've run away with this a bit, Jim Nesso. Like you said, the floodgates feels like they're opening more and more.
And they're just faster to the ball than Brisbane Deceptors. They're anticipating it better, they're passing better, and they're looking like the better side in this second match. The first match, it was a close affair, but Sydney Chiefs, this is where they're so great. This is why they're a championship side.
Definitely priority in the crowd again going to the Deceptors. But at what point do the Deceptors say, all right, maybe this isn't our game, this one. We're going to have to fight from behind. Best of 7. Means you have ample opportunity. Means it is a marathon, not a sprint. Game number 2 is looking definitely like a sprint for the Chiefs, though. Playing around the midfield, still only 3 goals, 2 minutes 45 remaining. He's been pretty good on this defense. Steve reacting with the touch and the pass. Jake will just get it out of here. A good clear to see what Seps can do.
To be careful though, Chiefs always looking for that pass in attack, in defense. No matter where it is, they're confident with that. And these guys put together some of the best passing game around.
Speak of the devil there, what a pass that was. Crossbar and top down. Steve had the angle right as well. Bit of explosion to the side. A great touch from Jake once again. And that's what we need to see out of Deceptors. Confidence to make those long field passing plays. Jake on top of the backboard. Able to push forward. Now left to Steven Yeatsy. Such a great moment for the Deceptors. See if they can hustle the bustle once again. Jake takes the dribble. Ooh. Good start there for the Deceptors. 1 minute 50.
We have liftoff from the Deceptors here in game number 2. And they've got 1 minute 50 to play with, but they can't take too much time to get that second goal if they're going to get themselves in contention for this match. Great solo play from Jake there once again. Yeah. Great first touch, set that up.
Brisbane Deceptors trail by 2. 2 minutes to go. It is so doable here. And you see off the back of that big passing play before, that's where the confidence rose. That's where Brisbane Deceptors were playing the style that beat the Raw. Yeatsy following through. An opportune moment now for the Deceptors. Jake almost wins that trade-off. Kami angling it down. A good touch-up. That's from Yeatsy. Tossos comes back in the angle. Slight but right. And Steve goes to the left. It's Kami with the infield. Drippe just pops it up. Tossos comes through. What an ingenious pass play, but it doesn't make it. Drippe has to pass back, but Yeatsy's there. He gets ingenious quite himself. Kami angling again off the backboard. Left to Jake and Yeatsy. A minute remaining. Getting close towards that net. Yeatsy with the touch up. Not the right angle, but here comes Jake. And unfortunately, he gets beaten out to the ball. That play could have brought in that goal, but now time is running out.
Brisbane Deceptors here, they've got to get that ball out. And the bumps coming in from Chiefs too, so really trying to unsettle the youngsters. It's a high-pressure situation for them. They need to stand up.
Torsos receives the pass back. And again, playing with time for the Chiefs. At this point, doing it so comfortably. Not really giving too much possession over to the Deceptors. And one miss like that just gives the chances over a little bit more. Torsos with a bump out. Steve receives the pass and pushes it forward. Good intercept there. Jake does receive it, but the angle is not going to work with him either. And the Deceptors, they put in some hard yards here in game number 2. But with only 10 seconds, that'll count its way down. Drippe looking to cement this from the Chiefs. Torsos a little bit too far to the right, but you can see what the Chiefs are playing with right now. And that's their hopes and dreams on the line. They're making sure to be comfortable here in game 2. And it is a reverse story that will be coming through from the Deceptors at this point, Jim.
And I mean, Chiefs looking so comfortable in this match as well. They controlled it from start to finish. There was a flurry of goals to their name as well at the start. And I think that really put Brisbane Deceptors on the back foot.
Yep. I think Brisbane Deceptors, though, there are moments with flair. And that their progress through league play so far in the Gfinity Elite Series is showing. But when you go up a team like the Chiefs, you make one mistake, and all it takes is that play to set you back. I think we saw one of those games here.
Well, that's right. I mean, it was just a flurry of goals from Brisbane. The back of their net, they really couldn't deal with that whatsoever. But Jake, again, he's a live wire for Brisbane Deceptors. He set it up with 1 minute 50 left for them, just have a glimmer of hope in this. But I think it was far too little too late. It's a class act from Sydney Chiefs, and they're a very tough egg to crack.
I don't think it's going to be a 4-0, though. I don't think it's set in stone that's going to be a Chiefs victory. However, we're not the people to ask that, so we're going to throw it back to Luke on the desk with more answers.
Yeah, look, it's a good question. What do you reckon, Yummy? Can Deceptors get back in this?
They looked a lot better in game 2, funnily enough. Even though game 1, it went to overtime, Chiefs were missing a ton of opportunities. But in game number 2, Brisbane Deceptors were really getting the ball high. They were getting some really good redirects, and they were the ones not finishing it off. So there is definitely hope there.
Okay, well, right now it's time to go behind the scenes to see how our teams prepare. Backstage, it's Dare Drink It Through time with Ash.
Drink it through with Dare Iced Coffee.
I'm hanging out here with Hysterics, who has taken a bit of a break from the casting desk. Look, I'm so excited. We're here at the semis today. How have you been preparing for this week?
I've been sitting down with Jim Nesso, kind of discussing shirts and, you know, a bit of the broader range of his spectrum there, because sometimes he goes a bit overboard, and I feel like I have to reel him back. And, you know, he even wears like the weirdest kind of shirts, but that's only the baseline level. So I keep him in check and make sure that we're prepared, not only with our voices, but also with our costumes.
Well, I love your hair today. Did you do this specifically for the semis?
No, I didn't. I just, you know, I got really stressed, so I made it go blonde, and I wanted it to be more blonde, like white, but I decided this was a good start, and maybe next week I'll come like white hair.
I love it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And actually, just talking about toppers, I was thinking about in Rocket League, what I love about Rocket League is it's so customizable for the person. What do you love the most about being able to customize the game for yourself?
Well, of course, expressing yourself, Ash. That's always the most important part. No, the toppers kind of symbolise, you know, who you are as a person. So I have the pineapple with the tongue sticking out the side. That's absolutely crazy and looks a bit dirty at the same time. So that's my favourite part, and that's what I kind of like about it, that you can express yourself.
Yeah. So, but why the pineapple? Do you love pineapple?
I believe that pineapple should be on pizza.
Okay, this is where we disagree, and I don't think we can talk anymore. What's this little guy here?
Oh, this is my little guy. This is an ode to Jim Nesso once again. You know, like, he is the man, right? But the thing is, he likes the fatter, you know, the thicker type of cars. And there's another word that goes with that we're not going to say live on air. But this car right here is an ode to him, because it's the dumb car that you don't take in game. Like, it has no purpose, it's slow, it has hard hitboxes on it, so I thought I would put this on top of my dare just to make it a bit spicier.
All right, well, thanks for chatting to me. Get back out there. Love you guys, and love you, Jimmy.
Get through with Dare Iced Coffee.
welcome back to the Hoist Gfinity Esports Arena at the Entertainment Quarter in Sydney. You can see some beautiful shots of it all as it happens. Come and join our live audience for next week's Rocket League Grand Final. The teams will be vying for $30,000 in prize money, and you can get your tickets at hoyts.com.au/Gfinity. Now, if you're watching this at home and you reckon, I could probably do that, great. Get involved in the next Gfinity Elite Series in 2019. Sign up for that. It's on the Challenger website, and you can be the first to hear when Season 3 is kicking off next year. All the details are at challenger.gfinityesports.com.au. We're in the middle of our first match. Right now, it is 2-0 in favour of the Chiefs. What do you guys reckon? I mean, I'll ask you, we talked to Yummy briefly about this, but Tom, do you think Deceptors can get back in this?
I mean, everything's possible. Jake is a very clutch player, but being 2 down right out the gates is not a good sign when Chiefs are typically a team that takes a little time to warm up, and they're already warm.
Do you reckon? What do you reckon? Are you still back in Chiefs?
You predicted the 3-0.
3-0.
I think that they
3-0 in a best of 7. What a call from me.
And then they'll go 4-0. Yeah.
4-0. Okay. All right. Well, let's get back to it. Back over to you, Jim and Jake, for Game 3.
Yeah, of course, always a potential for a 3-0 here from the young Colonel Sanders that we got as a host. It's Season 2, it's the semi-finals. This is Jim Nesso, I'm Hysterics. Don't you walk over here, you don't belong in this segment. We're about to jump into game number 3. And I'm kind of excited, Jim, because now I see the potential for Deceptors to 4-2 the Chiefs.
Well, I mean, it's there, but...
yeah, let's just walk over
let's just throw it into the mix. But, I mean, Deceptors, they need to get themselves going in this match. That had a short layoff in terms of the break now, but... Getting themselves in, they're getting themselves warmed up with all kinds of exercises by the looks of things. So for them, it's about starting well and getting themselves off to a nice start rather than having to rely on individual play.
It's been such a run from the Chiefs so far, 2-0 up. Of course, at best of 7, they have to win 4-0. Let's get into game 3, folks. And the Chiefs, if they start off with a goal, then I'm going to say hope may be lost. And here it is. Is it really 7 seconds in?
Oh, they are brutal in the way they start, and they are very direct in the way they play. Torsos here, just that touch. Such a smart play as well, setting it up for Kami. And they do all the little things right, don't they, the Sydney Chiefs?
But you got to remember that for the Chiefs, their aggression starts right off the bat. In game 3, it's going to be no different here. For the Deceptors, big long passing plays from the defensive side of the field. That was the change in game 2. And I don't say this often, but game 2, Yummy was right. It looks so much better. What a pass from the wall there, right towards the net, hits the roof, but unfortunately the angle will not correct itself. Down the back of the field with a short clear from the Chiefs.
Jake now just looking to start something for Brisbane Deceptors, but they've already started very direct, Sydney Chiefs. They mean business. They want this done in 4 games. As they said, they're super confident and back themselves, but why not? With the form that they're in at the moment, it looks the goods.
Second touch from Steve will keep the ball down the field. Deceptors trying to get in the face of the Chiefs, but also happy to give them breathing room at the same time. Easy from the corner. Another second touch from Steve that works out well. The massive clear. Set up Jake here. The angle right. Goes past. The defense, the Chiefs not often you see that, but Deceptors, here we go.
They will take it. It is the perfect reply, though. They've given themselves a lot more time to work with and maybe take some chances like that, particularly if they're not hitting balls.
It's good to see the Deceptors, right, are not disheartened by this game 3. 2-0 down, and the experience of Jake is shining through. He's been in similar positions before and been able to claw his way back. On the defense, some good touches here, keeping it alive, but this one's going to drop towards net. Not a good start here. Deceptors both miss it, but so does Torsos. Kami comes in to recover, sets it up for Drippe. What a wide angle to play with. Yeatsy hits it off the backboard. Dangerous touches here from the Deceptors. It works out for now, but not forever. Torsos says silence.
The carry from Jake here, just trying to tip it out. He got there in the end, but Kami smothers that nicely and just sets it up so well for Torsos. The pressure was being heaped on. The defense, it couldn't cope in the end, and Sydney Chiefs, again, just notched themselves another goal.
I'm surprised that play went on for so long. The defense of Deceptors has been quite slim and has really been up to a clear, or the goal's gone in. So a bit of a rare case. Jake from the corner can play with angles here once again. It is easy able to course correct, sort of. Another demo onto Steve. Tackles the top there, though. Good pressure applied by Jake. The clear reciprocated once more by the Chiefs. Steve comes through to midfield. Drippe gets demoed this time. I love a bit of camera shake in our demos. Adds a bit of oomph to it. Kami, the setup's there again. What a touch away by Steve. Jake receives the pass, pushes it up the field. Deceptors go from pretty much getting scored on to now in another opportunity.
They need to make sure that they're fluid in this attack because it's just broken down for them. It allows Sydney Chiefs to get themselves out of the gates and start to, I guess, progress themselves up the field with an attacking movement of their own. But at the moment, Brisbane Deceptors, they've dealt with it well. They need to get their own passing game going, and this is a good start.
Oh,
Stevie!
How he got that touch when he was on the attack, I have no clue, Jim Nessa.
We say it every week, he looks better and better and better.
They always look better. Each and every week. The crowd's behind them, and why shouldn't they be? Everyone in Australia, and New Zealand for that matter, love an underdog story. And we've got one. It's 2 apiece, 2 minutes 30 remaining. Great clear up the field. Able to push up on the attack. Jake plays slow. Kami will steal it out and actually being able to get it off the wall, off the roof. Now down it goes. The bouncer here onto the backboard. But Jake back in time to clear. Howie recovered again. A great move. Yeatsy will just block it straight through the middle of net. Jake tries to direct it away. Steve can't come up as well. Sydney Chiefs hold on. Look for the dribble here over the top of Yeatsy. Some good teamwork here, but the infield right to Drippe. Pops it up to the left wing. Corsos collision course actually gets it through. But not Jake.
Yeatsy just missing a few balls there as well. Not really seemingly in position at the moment, but he's getting himself back with that rotation coming through now. And Jake, he's been good individually for them. We'll need to try and start something once again, but finally we saw something from Steve there. It means maybe the rest of Brisbane Deceptors are in this.
Drippe off the wall again. Yeatsy, if he got that touch, something could have happened. But Steve with the infield to Jake. A little bit short down the range. Yeatsy to recover the play. Kami needs to get there first, and he does. As Steve committed forward, it's just Jake in the defense. But what a touch, what a commitment. Wow. Corsos just punches it back down centre field. Jake gets a double demo, but unable to get through, unfortunately. Good strength here from the Chiefs. The shot, it's not going to come through. It's a pass instead to Kami. Quick bump off the side. Yeatsy towards net, it goes. Corsos doesn't get the ball. This could be an opening. But again, it goes to Kami first. The touch up from Drippe. The final measure of play is into Kami. Corsos doesn't need to come in. Stays on the defensive side. Yeatsy blocks it directly down net again. 40 seconds remaining, Jim Nesso. And no team shows any signs of budging. This is going to be a mistake. This is going to be an aggressive type of play. Corsos getting the bump on Yeatsy, but Drippe directs it the other way once again.
And if there's going to be a player to get under the skin of City Chiefs, it's going to be Jake. He's going to be the one instigating things. You already saw that double demolition. It's a signal of intent.
Oh, what a pass off the wall! Getting behind the defense, Jim Nesso. You've said it week after week. This is how you bug the Chiefs. And it's Steve again with these passes. Steve, the rookie coming into the split, that is making Deceptors look so good. Of course, they're also playing well. But with that 1-goal lead, you have Steve to thank for it at the moment.
Certainly the case. And I mean, I was going to say, he's not going to let that one go, surely. Sydney Chiefs, though, they're going to come out of the gates really hot. 10 seconds left.
But a good demo from Steve. This might even open things up. 5 seconds remaining. One last play for the Chiefs. But look at Steve coming down range once again. This ball simply has to hit the ground, and Deceptors will take a game. The Chiefs on the defensive side can't make it. And Deceptors take one. It's not going to be a 4-0. But boy, oh boy, did Deceptors make that one look competitive.
That they did, and they were hot into that match. And I mean, that's what they needed, though. After that break, they needed to get themselves almost instantly into this, and that was how they worked. Yes, they almost, with 7 seconds played, had conceded a goal, and that was a signal of intent. Chiefs were going to come at them hard and fast. Kami with that goal, very, very quick. And Brisbane Deceptors, they had to adapt. They got themselves going quite early. That reply was perfect, but Brisbane Deceptors, they still had to absorb a lot of pressure from Chiefs. It was actually a far more open game than what we've seen in the past too. And I think, you know, having players come into their own, particularly Steve in this match, he was a real live wire for them. It's not all on Jake anymore. The rest are coming through. The youngsters are coming.
Steve beat out Torsos to the ball. Like, it's not something you often say that Torsos got beaten in a 1v1 challenge. So there are so many highlights of Steve, Yeatsy, and of course Jake, who is the front runner for this team with all of his experience. So for the Deceptors 2-1 now, that boost of confidence going into Game 4 changes everything.
It does. And I mean, that's exactly what you want from your youngsters. You want them to play with confidence because that's how you release their potential. And these guys, we've said it before, they have a really high skill ceiling, but it's yet to be realised. They don't know where they're going to sit in terms of their potential because, you know, they've got a lot of experience yet to gain, and this is a perfect forum for it.
They've shown they're a top 4 team. They want to show that they're top 2. Now, Torsos backstage said 4-0. That's out of the picture once again. However, is it going to be a rinse and repeat of last season? Only time will tell. Game 4. Deceptors need to even this up, otherwise they'll be against Match Point and the Chiefs. 1 game is good, but 2 is great. Off the kickoff again, this time denied.
They get that second game and we find ourselves going deeper into this best of 7. But Sydney Chiefs again, they're going to come out strong.
Oh. These layups, these passes. I guess layups not really technically a term in Rocket League, but
we'll run with it.
So much setup. Yeah. So much setup here from Brisbane Deceptors in front of that net. You can't predict it. Yeatsy now playing that unpredictable game once more. Trying to get through to Torsos. He won't manage it. Steve with the pass off the wall. But Kami will block it.
Jake got himself to that one first. That was another goal potentially for Brisbane Deceptors, but again, they've done a good job of just absorbing the attack from Chiefs and starting something of their own. Steve again peppering that net, looking dangerous all the time.
So aggressive from Deceptors, but Chiefs just bring it right on back. Kami keeps it down here. Drubay in the perfect angle. Jake gets demoed. This is a sign of severity. Whatever I was saying, doesn't matter. Sydney Chiefs score first.
They were brutal in this attack as well. That demolition meant that there was no third person coming in for the rotation. And they didn't deal with that ball well in front of net either, so that really caused havoc for Brisbane Deceptors. Only a minute played thus far, but we know Brisbane Deceptors will get goals and they can come back from this.
Moments like that, Jim Nesso, that you start thinking what's going on. That pass again. Getting a little bit dangerous to decide towards, I can't speak today, Jim, towards Brisbane Deceptors' side of the net.
That could be a problem.
Sure will recover, much like Brisbane Deceptors at this point. Kami reacts with Jake. A good touch again. Challenge is working out in favour of Brisbane Deceptors. Right through the middle, Steve comes in red hot again. Kami, this will just be passed over to Jake, but he needs the second touch. Or at least gives it over to Yeatsy. Kami, the hand up once more, goes in for the third. Denied. Jake trying to punish and send it back up the field. Kami there with the angle. Coming close. Drubay, again, the angle's there. Jake blocking it off, but there's no big clear here from the Deceptors. The punishment continues here with Torsos off the backboard. Kami right through the middle. Steve with a great save. Smooth as always.
Oh yeah, super smooth. And super Steve, as he does it again, just allow Jake to defend that. But Brisbane Deceptors, they've absorbed some pressure. Can they put something on goal here? Can they ask a question of the Chiefs?
Oh, Jake punishing that lack of a clear. Brisbane Deceptors doing so well there. The pass is infield to Steve. 2 quick shots here from the Deceptors. Can they make it a third? Jake comes back in. Look how tired the Chiefs are now. Jake with the pass back. Yeatsy from the corner. He continues to play. Steve's there with the angle. Goes over the top of the ball. Deceptors are coming so close, but the Chiefs, all they need is one moment, so they have to make them count.
Yeah, there was just 2 passages of play there where they had a chance. They couldn't quite get that final touch, and even just then, they were lucky that Kami did not get direction on that shot.
Well, unlucky that Jake came through with such a good save at such a good time. Deceptors now have to play out of their own half. No big clear once again. Kami with a great pass, but this time angled too far to the right. Of course, high expectations of the Chiefs coming in off 2 world events. Yeatsy off that back wall. A touch from Drubay, not a clear. It'll hang it down the wing of the midfield. Steve and Jake come through. It's Kami with a bump, or at least gets bumped himself. Drubay trying to play with timings and angles. 1 minute 40, Chiefs up by 1. Deceptors, how goes their positioning? Well, what a touch! Oh, Yeatsy! So unexpected. Steve tries to recover it. That would have been top goal of the season right there, or at least close to. Deceptors not over just yet. You can see the confidence from them, bringing it forward. Challenge doesn't come through again. And Kami now in front of net. 2 goals for the Chiefs. Oh, that... Take a moment. Oh. You just, to recover from that is so difficult, but then again, the Deceptors are bringing out these unique passes, these unique plays. We've got a minute 15 to bring them back out again.
And I mean, Chiefs almost immediately from that just go on to remind them that they're the big dog. They're the ones that want to punish any mistakes made by Brisbane Deceptors, and they can't afford themselves mistakes in a match like this.
Sauce with the clear, denies the Deceptors in Game 4 even more. They need a passing play, but this one's just been stolen out of their hands. Beautiful touch by Torsos. And that's the Chiefs' form. The crowd has gone silent. They know the Deceptors are not likely to come away with this one. So we'll go to Game 5, Jim. And in Game 5, the Deceptors have a big ask. They have to start this journey. They have to take us to all 7. The Chiefs right now looking in form. And it's tough going against a mob this good. One mistake, and that's all it takes.
And I mean, that's it. It's tough knowing, too, that that moment where Yeatsy could have put that ball in the back of the net, it was a fantastic touch and a big angle, big ask. That could have been one apiece, and they could have been right back in it.
They could have been. There's not too much in the ways of defense. Jake does get through. 30 seconds, 2 goals. I'm optimistic, but so is my nature.
Very optimistic. But if they do manage to overcome that deficit, that does rattle the cage somewhat. It's a big ask.
Again, Jim, remember that the Chiefs were in this position with a roster like Jake. In the regular season of Gfinity, in many other moments, Jake has been in this position, and you're hoping that the experience he can bring to the rest of the Deceptors can get over this fear of being behind and maybe claw their way back. I want to see 7 games. I so badly do. But even more than that, I want to see a more competitive game from the Deceptors, because their one win just looked so good. And it's like a big pile of greed right now. You want to see so much more of it. The ball will drop, and the Chiefs, they'll move to match point. We've spoken so much about the Deceptors, but now we can talk about the Chiefs. Things are looking clinical, things are looking good, and they're one step away to righting their wrongs of last semi-finals and moving to the place they believe they belong.
Well, that's right. They want that grand finals berth. That's what they came for. Everybody comes, obviously, for the Gfinity title, but in terms of Brisbane Deceptors, they've got a big ask ahead of themselves for the next couple games. And this match was very much, I guess, well contested by both of the teams, but it was just that moment in time, that separation of the two teams, which was the back of a very close miss from Brisbane Deceptors. And then Sydney Chiefs just punishing them for no defensive rotation whatsoever.
I think for the Chiefs right now, though, they've just gone, right, this is the Deceptors at their form. We can get through this, as they probably would have thought going into this game anyway. There's been a pretty good response from the Deceptors, but some of these games it's just not good enough. We now ask the question if they can take us further, if the Chiefs will drop another game, or if the Deceptors will fall 4-1 right after this. course, you're back here at the Gfinity Elite Series for Rocket League. Our semi-finals might be coming to a conclusion here. I'm Hysterics. I'm joined by Jim Nesso. And right now, we're going to reward you for sticking around. You can head to gfinity.instantloyalty.com and use your drop code on your screen. This time, GDCAL, to earn some currency. You've only got a limited time to go to the website and enter the drop code and get paid. You receive 20 instant for each drop code all weekend long. So don't worry about missing the action. You can keep watching the match from the rewards website. Jim Nesso, you're my reward. So what do you think is going to continue on with this game?
I know you've been. I was going to say I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I know you've been struggling with words that you have, and I should have warned you. The shirt did come with a warning label. It can cause an heart attack. So I think you're just going to need to take a little bit easier. I knew I was going to get that kind of reaction. I get that reaction.
I just can't. Ladies and gentlemen, 7 weeks, 2 seasons, 14 weeks in total. This is Jim Nesso, and I have to deal with it. I mean, next time we're going to get Luke up, I reckon. That'll be the go.
Yeah, look, stitch him up.
Yeah, no, look, honestly, it's a bit of an heart attack for me this season especially. Jim Nesso, I'm going to bring us back, though, because the Chiefs, they're looking strong. They're looking dominant. There's been one game given over. We asked the question, can Deceptors bring us more? Can they bring us more? In the semi-finals, is it going to be cut and dry? That one game was good, but we wanted great. The Deceptors have put on a bit of a show. We now find out the Chiefs once again in front of that goal. There's the opener. It begins again.
They're so clinical. They're so direct in the way that they play. And Kami again, just that fantastic pass off the roof. Sets it up so nicely. Brisbane Deceptors, they threw everything at that ball. They couldn't get anything in front of it.
Kami, such a rock for this roster now. He's assimilated into it so nicely over the past season. You can see the result. The Chiefs not going to make the same mistake as previous Elite Series. Remember the upset when Avant Gaming took them down. They're saying not this time. They're not going to underestimate their opponents. They're going in this full throttle. There's been a couple of mistakes, but it doesn't matter at this point. Again, in front of the Deceptors net. Steve doing what he can. He pops it over. There's one. Can he get it through Kami? No. Good rotations here from the Chiefs once again.
It's going to take some individual brilliance like that. Maybe just set themselves apart, themselves something on a net. But they're caught in rotation here at the end. Need to be careful. Sydney Chiefs, they look to punish that every time.
Great passing play there from the Chiefs. Unfortunately, not going to find the net. But it might not matter at this point. From the defense, the pass is up to Torsos, the angle right, but it goes directly to Steve, or does it? Good connection of shots there from Chiefs once more. Pushing up with the ball. Kami waits in the midfield. It's Yeatsy or Jake who are waiting. Kami, the demolition play. That doesn't work. Plenty of boost for Yeatsy to send it downfield. It'll hit the roof. Trippe doesn't get the clear, so there's a maybe here for the Deceptors. Torsos loses possession. Trippe just continues forward once more.
Brisbane Deceptors start to potentially get those passing plays going, and there's no real momentum on the ball, unfortunately, for them. So it just fizzles out for the moment, but Steve looking to keep that ball in a dangerous area. Jake very nearly on the end of that, but we've seen that time and time again. Steve's been a real live wire. He's going to need to continue to develop and grow in this series if they're going to challenge the Chiefs.
Playing with the infields like the Chiefs are, and you can see sometimes it's catching the Chiefs off guard. Just targeting isn't there. Kami comes back through with the ball. These challenges winning over for the Chiefs more often than not, as you can see there from Torsos. No one needs to commit forward. That one goal gives so much comfortability here for the Chiefs, but it's not enough at this point. Torsos through again. Jake misses. Trippe recovers it. No one in the defense. And they sink another.
And that is the Sydney Chiefs just punishing Brisbane Deceptors for those defensive blips, just not tracking back on time, and they need an answer quite quickly. I feel like Brisbane Deceptors, they have to be the next ones to score. They haven't been able to overcome a 3-0 deficit thus far in the series, and Sydney Chiefs, they can just shut up shop around them. They're not going to let them back in if they get to that third goal.
They can, but they're trying to play with weird angles at the moment. Jake just bumps away at the end. Looks like a bump out of frustration, but with that massive clear heading towards net, off the backboard again. Touch from Steve actually saves the day. Could turn it around from Jake. From the wall, Steve has the angle, but blocked away. Great defense from Trippe. Yeatsy will hang in the midfield. Jake will do the exact same. Steal away. Kami almost gets bumped out of contention. Steve comes through once more. Keeps getting tested a little bit here on the defense, but one clear just sets it up again. Block from Jake. 2 minutes remaining.
Brisbane Deceptors, again, are going to look to try and build something in. Sydney Chiefs, they're so relentless in their attack. They're always looking for some sort of passing game. But these two teams right now, they're brawling for this. Brisbane Deceptors, as we said, they need that next goal. They need to wrestle momentum back from Sydney Chiefs, because Chiefs are just controlling this at the moment.
Deceptors need this play. Angles there. Crossbar. Steve almost double touch off the back of it. This might actually be so bad for the Deceptors. Kami to a standstill. Drippay's in there. What a block. But Torsos is still here. He'll try and pinch it out of the wall. Send it all the way back. Can Deceptors get through? There are moments here for the Deceptors. Is this one of them? Through the midfield. Yeaty just lobs it away. Sense of direction for the Deceptors right now just doesn't seem to be there. And it's hard right now to recover this. Steve up for the ball, but no contention. Yeatsy's still there, but look at this. Easy reaction here to the clear.
Time is running out for the Deceptors. They need to find something here, and could that be it? Not to be.
Yeatsy. Close call again. Steve off the wall again. To see a reaction to the clear. Jake will bring it back forward. Any other team, maybe this would work, but Chiefs feel like they're one step ahead. Even in the defensive side, 30 seconds remaining. It rolls along the wall. No one's there to punch it. And we go back to a clear. That one's open. And the Chiefs may have just put the nail in the coffin here. The semi-finals have never looked so good for them. Because frankly, there's only been 2 seasons, and one of them, they didn't even make it to the finals. But this time, they're making sure they go all the way.
They want to right all the wrongs of last season, and they are keen to get themselves that grand finals berth and see who waits for them at the end of this second semi-final as well. They might have just done it, and I think 3 goals is a big ask for a young side at any measure. Brisbane Deceptors.
Look, there's not enough time left remaining, unfortunately. Torsos going to try and put that nail even deeper still. And all Brisbane Deceptors can do is watch and wait for this ball to come down. For the Sydney Chiefs, it's been a rough season for them. They've been back and forth, but now they say enough is enough. The Chiefs move to the finals, and they look calm as a coconut.
I mean, coconuts are known for their calm demeanour, and that is certainly what has been displayed here. A calm demeanour from start to finish. And I think that is just credit to the Chiefs. They're a world-class side. They proved it here today. They were in their comfort zone. It wasn't the prettiest of games, but I think they got the job done.
But you know what? With the Chiefs as well, you start thinking, right, were they expecting to get to this point? Of course they were. Were they expecting to be in the finals last season? Of course they were. So you see the different reactions there. But even so, after winning that semi-finals, they're going, right, we know we made some mistakes. We dropped that game. The Chiefs are never going to be happy with their performance. As said many times before, they have to be perfect.
Yeah, there were a lot of runaway goals too as well. Brisbane Deceptors caught short at the back every time, and it felt as though that was really what, I guess, let them down in some instances. But full credit to Brisbane Deceptors. They've had an absolutely cracking season. They're a young side. Yeah. They've had the crowd the entire time, and I think, you know, they're going to only get better in seasons to come.
They're a progressive mob. They made so much impact here in the Gfinity Elite Series, so they'll definitely walk away with their heads held high after the semi-finals. However, standing by with the Chiefs and the winners, of course, Ash is with Drippay.
Thank you so much, Drippay. Congratulations on that win. You look like you didn't even play, just like, yeah, cool, whatevs.
Yeah, well, we're hoping for the 4-0, but we didn't play the best today, but it is what it is. Still got the win.
Yeah, Torsos did say 4-0, so, well, sorry about that, Torsos. I did say be careful about 4-0. So what are you most proud of with your gameplay today? Winning.
Yeah, I don't know, like, maybe just being clean, not making too many errors, I guess.
Okay, so semis done and dusted. You are guaranteed in the finals. What are you going to be focusing on this week?
Just keep up the practice, keep the routine going, scrims, look through replays, yeah.
All right, so who do you think is going to make it through to the finals out of the next matchup?
I think it has to be Raw, for sure, yeah.
All right, maybe we will see Raw versus you guys. I don't know, someone's shaking his head over here. We'll see. Well, thank you so much for chatting and congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you, Luke.
Yeah, Ash trying to get a word in with Drippay there. He's a motor mouth, isn't he? Oh, my goodness. What very confident team. What a win. The fairy tale is over the Deceptors, but they did so well. I mean, what a match. It was tough, wasn't it? It's tough for the guys. They're such a strong team, aren't they, the Chiefs?
It's really difficult, and at least we saw some growth from the players, especially Steve, even just across this series. Game 1 and 2, he was struggling. He couldn't really find his place. But by Game 3, he really got into it, and that was a major part of that Game 3 victory.
Yeah, it's sad that you don't get a great reflection of how the growth goes along when you're going against one of the best teams in the world. You can have a great performance, but it doesn't always mean you're going to get a great result.
Yeah, definitely. Well, right now it's time to announce our MVP for today's semi-final, thanks to Astro headsets. Righto, Yummy, tell us who your selections are for the first semi-final clash we just saw between Deceptors and Chiefs. Who have you chosen for points and the winner?
Well, despite a really struggling 4-1 loss, I have to give a massive shout out to Jake. He got the top score for his team every single game. Every single game. He had a massive series.
After that, I have to look at Kami. He contributed 1.2 assists per game and helped contribute to his victory and played an excellent third man, leading to a ton of good saves.
Really consistent. But the MVP goes to one man. It goes to Torsos again. A big series coming out from the man who gets the goals out front. Multiple goals across the series and a goal every single game.
Yeah, he's just an absolute monster. He's lived up to the expectations of last Gfinity and is consistently getting those high shot percentages and converting all the goals.
Most importantly, it was last season that he was the one who really got inside his own head and was really upset with their semi-final performance, so it is good to see him playing consistently today.
Well, congratulations, Torsos. You are our Astro Headsets MVP. Yeah, give him a round of applause for Deceptors and Chiefs semi-final in Season 2 of the Gfinity Elite Series. That is one semi-final down. Sydney Raw and Melbourne Order are up next. But to take us out, mental strength is vital to success in the Elite Series. To find out more, here's the latest step along our path to pro, giving you the edge thanks to Alienware.
I'm Jim Inesso, commentator in the Gfinity Elite Series. I'm here with a special edition of Path to Pro, thanks to Alienware.
CJ sends it down. See you later. It's the Chiefs who get 3-0'd. It's the Raw who defy expectations.
Keeping you and your team on track after a devastating loss can be a difficult space to navigate. So how do you soften the blow? We spoke to Matthew Plewis from the University of Technology, Sydney, about some strategies that you can employ on your path to pro.
That's it, Travis takes it. What a close game.
If you are coming back from a devastating loss, I think the first thing you do need to recognise that it is important to lose. Everyone does lose. The second thing you should do is recognise that it doesn't necessarily mean you're not performing well. It's going to affect your mentality more than your skill.
Right, we're on the back foot, boys. Come on.
If you are feeling you're falling behind or starting to lose against your opponent, start to shift your focus towards the small wins to increase the likelihood of a greater outcome of performance.
Two more, yeah? Boys, let's not panic if we're down.
Some players might be very motivated after a big loss, or some players might be a bit more bummed out. So it's important that all feedback is individualised in esports.
Overhead, he's done it! Robbie gets his first win for the Gfinity Elite Series Season 2!
Best of luck on your path to pro.
We create machines that make every experience more intense and real. With Intel Core processors so powerful, you can redefine reality. Because the best feature of a gaming machine is the power to make you forget it's there.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Callum Murray.
Callum Murray.
Calamari.
Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare iced coffee.
Like it's nothing. Come on, better get it. Go. Good job, team. Good job.
the score's locked at 1-1, something has to give.
Well, overtime was a potential. It still might be. No, it's not. Not when Requiem comes flying it off the roof like that.
He passes it up. Decker's up for it as well. Talendina recognizing he needs to get back for it. The shot on, this could be the one. Walcott out of nowhere. What an incredible play. Brisbane Deceptors and Melbourne Order. Jake now goes for the solo play. He can't get the flick. Steve the doink. The finish. Yeezy. Brisbane Deceptors are back in this game.
Oh my goodness, talk about dragging it back in their direction.
4-second goal. That was absolutely insane.
What a match they had. What a season they had, rather, Brisbane Deceptors. We've been treated some cracking goals in Season 2 of the Elite Series. Rocket League, of course, brought to you by Dare Ice Coffee and Astro headsets. Now, don't forget, there's a brand new Alienware M15 laptop up for grabs. Not long now until the end of the season, so get your entries in. The M15 is the thinnest and lightest 15-inch Alienware gaming notebook ever. You can enter by sending through a selfie from the Alienware activation zone here at the arena. Go to gfinityesports.com.au for all the details on that, and we will announce the winner next weekend. Right now, let's get into our second semi-final match between Sydney Raw and Season 1 champions Melbourne Order. That's the Raw lineup there. What do you reckon, Cheese Man?
They're looking to be on top. They took down the Chiefs in a 3-0. They've had a really strong season, and their biggest rivals of the Deceptors are now out of the competition.
It's a great place to be. You know, they have such a great win rate against Chiefs in other tournaments as well, so they're going to be happy and confident to see them as their opponent.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Express has provided some quality finishing in front of goal for Raw this season. Tom, do you reckon he'll be a target again today?
He's a scary boy to be up against. He has a 40% conversion rate, but he's also one of the best passers in OCE. So if he keeps the ball, he has a fair chance of closing it himself, or he can pass to a teammate and you know they're going to receive it.
And not only that, he works really well with CJ. Those two have been fantastic. Up forward, passes for days, getting these big goals. And it is a really hard offensive duo to beat, to even defend against.
Well, Express played 9 seasons. 9 seasons? 9 games, not 9 seasons. That's a huge credit to him. 9 games for Raw this season due to international competition, bagging 9 goals and 7 assists. He also made a dozen saves, so solid numbers there for Express we're looking at, right, fellas?
Big numbers. Not just the 9 goals, but having a 7 assists at the same time. 16 goal participations, that's massive for his team.
Yeah, definitely. Well, leading the way for Sydney Raw again today is CJ, and right now he's having a chat with Ash.
Thanks so much, Luke. CJ, you are here. You're in the semi-finals. Are you feeling confident going in?
Yeah, for sure. I think that we can forget about last week. We've practiced pretty hard this week, so yeah, we're ready to go.
So do you think that you guys have got what it takes? Because, well, actually, earlier in the season, you guys beat Order. So do you think they're going to bring it to the table today, or is this going to be pretty easy peasy?
Yeah, our sub-roster managed to beat Order in week 1, I believe. So we're coming in now feeling pretty strong. And obviously, Order are going to put up a good fight, but we think that if we play our way, that, you know, the result will take care of itself.
Is there anything that you're a little bit nervous about, or any players that you think it might be a little bit dangerous today?
I think Jules and Zen can always pop off on their day, so they're pretty skillful. So I'll be watching out for them, but hopefully we're on the ball and ready to go.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Thank you so much for chatting to me. I'll let you get to it.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Back to you, Luke.
Very confident CJ there. Raw entering the semi-finals after finishing in 2nd place on the ladder, courtesy of 3 wins and 2 losses. They started with a 3-1 victory against Melbourne Order and whooped their rivals Chiefs 3-0 in week 4. Tom, can you see them returning to that sort of form today?
I think they're going to be in great form. The fact that they got their strongest roster available today going up against the team, as CJ said, their subs beat them. Yep. They're going to be incredibly confident.
Okay, well, to Melbourne Order, who've been building momentum in recent weeks. They finished 3rd on the ladder. Yummy, talk to me about this lineup.
Well, this is the defending title holders of Gfinity. They won last season, but they're up against Shady and Express, who was on the Order team. So it is essentially champion versus champion, Dumbo versus Express and Shady. And I think Zen and Jules, just as CJ said, they're the ones that can pop off. They're the ones that can win the series single-handedly for Order.
Well, he is Order's pocket rocket and their leading goal scorer. Of course, we're talking about Zen. Cheeseman, he was with Melbourne Avant last season. They shocked Chiefs in the semis. Do you reckon he's going to bring the magic again today?
He's got the experience here, but it's up to whether he's comfortable. And that's the same with all of the Order players. If they're feeling good, if they're not nervous, they can play really well and take it to anyone. They took down Sydney Raw in the RLCS qualifiers. Now they're in the biggest stage they can possibly go, and they have to turn up today.
Yeah, I have huge expectations of Zen. He has 70% participation for his team. He has one of the most skewed stats in terms of the ability to be involved. So if he's having a poor day, it's going to be reflected immediately across the match.
A lot of goals as well, 20 goals across the season. I think that is the most from an individual player, even if it's not the most goals per game. He's just played a few extra games than his rivals. But we've seen some poor performances from him too. A couple of little mistakes or little poor games where he didn't quite get enough goals. So it really goes to show that he's very on and off.
Yeah, solid stats there from Zen. Right now, though, he is having a chat with Ash, I believe. So we're going to head back to him, see how he's doing.
Yeah, I'm hanging out here with Zen. Zen, you are on a 3-win streak. How are you going to keep that going? How have you been keeping that focus?
Keeping morale up during games. Yeah, it's just been keeping a healthy team environment, really.
Well, what about you personally? Are you nervous in any way, shape or form?
Week 1, week 2, I was, a bit shaky. A bit shaky in the opening weeks, but as time went on, definitely warmed into the Elite Series.
Well, it's not your first time. Last season, you were in Avant and you guys made it through. You actually had a really big upset against the Chiefs. So how is that experience helping you this time around?
Having that win against the Chiefs last season really helped prep me for the high-pressure situations because that was pretty exciting, pretty nerve-wracking. So getting into this should be no problem.
So how important is it for you to maintain that win from last season for Order and to try and win this season the finals?
All we can do is really try our best. Nothing else we can really do, to be honest.
All right, well, best of luck and thanks so much for chatting.
Thank you.
That's it from us. Back to you guys.
Nice, calm, positive vibes there from Zen. Now, as we mentioned, Order's title defense started slowly with losses to Raw and Deceptors, but they're now on a 3-game winning streak, including a clean sweep against Chiefs last weekend. Cheese Man, what do you think has clicked for them in recent weeks?
Well, those are really tough losses right at the start of the season. As we said with Zen, he was nervous. So I think them just getting comfortable, Zen finding his rhythm in the game, that's been the big difference maker in them getting the last 3 wins.
The thing I'm worried about for them, though, is they've been together for a long time. So the fact that they're not always hitting their rhythm now shows that they are very hot cold when it comes to the day-to-day performance.
Okay, let's get these teams out here. Whoever wins this one will be going through to the grand final next week. So let's give them a huge hometown welcome, guys. Go nuts for Sydney Raw! Express, CJ, and Shady. And make some noise for Rocket League champions from Season 1. Give it up for Melbourne Order. Dumbo, Jules, and Zen. Our second semi-final match is just around the corner. Make sure you follow at Gfinity AU on socials to be notified when we go live on CSGO, Rocket League and Street Fighter. As we head to a quick break, Melbourne Order are going to tell us about the importance of defending their Elite Series title.
Zen back over to Dumbo. The loft through. That's a 5-man play. 3-0.
It's very crucial that we made semi-finals because if we didn't get the chance to defend our title, then it would be devastating.
Zen, he's happy again.
Really amazing. All the pressure that we were experiencing through the first couple of weeks after losing to sub-teams and a lot of upsets not going our way, it feels amazing.
We've technically had a bit of an easy run, like having both sub-teams for Chiefs and the Raw. So considering everything, we've come out on top. We're playing like a really confident, solid team at the moment.
Melbourne Order comes in with the most offensive potential out of any team in the league. Chiefs and Raw, they have good defense, good attack, but I think we can outspeed them.
We're going to win Gfinity Elite Series because I believe we can, on our best day, beat anybody.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Callum Murray.
Callum Murray.
Callum Murray.
Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare Iced Coffee.
3 days ago, Coda announced that Zero would join Cell 7 in the upcoming Soma Worlds tournament. After so many league victories, switching teams this close to the tournament appears to be a deliberate move to destroy Coda's chance at the title.
the Melbourne v Melbourne matchup. My, oh my, how things have changed. Great goal from Bango.
It's always down to Bango. He's able to sniff out a goal in any situation.
Jules finds the clear away and readies it up for Zen, who's going to take the solo play once more. The dribble down, very Zen-esque, but Dumbo with the pass sets it up for Jules. Infield perfectly.
So great work from Zen in the initial setup, but it was the passing play that Melbourne Order put together that decided that moment.
The Sydney Raw, they've looked powerful, they've looked fast, confidence still here. This is why they went to the world stage. This shows you what caliber of a team they are.
More awesome goals there from this season's Rocket League, thanks to Astro Headsets and Dare Ice Coffee. Hey, why not join us in the audience for next week's grand final right here at the Entertainment Quarter in Sydney? Get your tickets online at hoist.com.au/Gfinity. And if you're watching this and you think you've got what it takes to be on the big stage of the next Gfinity Elite Series in 2019, sign up on the Challenger website and be the first to hear when Season 3 is kicking off next year. All the deets at Matt are at challenger.gfinityesports.com.au on the internet, guys. It's taken off. Get onto it. Hey, right now, it's time for our experts to put their reputation on the line. Who's going to win this one? Go to you first, Tom.
Pretty confident. It's going to go Raw, 4-1, right out the gate.
Lucky for me, I don't have much reputation to put on the line, but I will put it down on Sydney Raw. I think they're really confident.
4-1 as well?
4-2.
4-2.
Generous.
4-2 and 4-1. That's the call from our analysts right now. Let's get into a final semi-final of the day. Whoever wins this is going through to the grand final next week. Let's get into it. Jake and James.
Thank you very much, Luke, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The very last matchup of today, another best of 7. This is Jim Nesso, I'm Hysterics. Game 1's coming right up. This time, I feel like everyone thinks it's going to be a lot closer, but I feel like this might be a bit more cut and dry, Jim.
Yeah, look, I mean, let's be real. Sydney Raw, no slouches. They're a world-class side. They've come back. Yes, last week they had a blip against the Brisbane Deceptors, but they're back on track, I dare say. This week, we'll find out very, very early on in this piece too. Both these two teams, they're very fast and aggressive. We know that Melbourne Order are going to bring the heat, so let's rub our hands together because this one's going to be a cracker.
Before we ask a question about Melbourne Order and Sydney Raw, we're going to reward you for sticking around, of course, for the final time. Head to gfinity.incentloyalty.com and use the drop code on your screen, GSTRIKER, to earn some currency. You've only got a limited time to go to the website and enter that drop code. 20 incent for each drop code all weekend long as usual. Don't worry about the action. Remember, you can watch it from the rewards website, so get on that right now. Jim Nesso, final question for you. Are the Raw going to be able to recover from last week and make this as clean as we expected, or am I wrong in saying that it will be as cut and dry?
Well, look, I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as you say it is, but I think, Sydney Raw, they've got the ability to distance themselves from last week because this is an entirely different ballgame. This is a different team. It's a best of 7. It's a semi-final. It's a different situation for them. Pressure situations are what these guys are going to thrive in.
Thriving in the chaos usually in the Gfinity Elite Series. This time, thriving in the speed for Sydney Raw. Taking on Melbourne Order, we begin with another semi-finals. And Melbourne Order, if you have to quote an underdog, they would be it in this series. The previous champions, they've got the expectations to hold up to, but Sydney Raw is a brand new roster in the Season 2 Elite Series.
I mean, if you want to talk champions, there's 3 Gfinity Elite Series champions playing in this match. Express and Shady won the title last season with Melbourne Order. They're here to take it for themselves this time, but with Sydney Raw.
Of course, Dumbo being that third and final member, so a bit of a splay of action. And display of experience as well. Shady, that ends up being a pass to CJ. Look how fast this is going. What a pop-up. How does that almost go in? Well, it doesn't. So I guess that's how. CJ going to react with the ball off the side. Sydney Raw, that's how fast they can play. The pace is always there. Something Order will have to adapt to here in this series. In the corner, they don't find it, but a good block there by Dumbo.
And you were right. This pace is blistering. Both these two teams are fast and aggressive. Sydney Raw certainly bring a disruptive style to the way they play. They like to get under the skin of their opposition and just bump them around the pitch, let them know who's boss. But don't get me wrong, Melbourne Order can also play that same game with a bit of speed as well.
Well, CJ lobs it up. Here comes Express again. Pops it in off the backboard and ready to pop it on down. CJ, the angle's right. Jules has to get up, but they're running out of boost here on the Melbourne Order side. It's ready for Shady off that back wall again. 1, 2, 3. How do you do? Sydney Raw coming at you.
And that is, again, just displayed how well these guys pass. Shady and Express, they understand each other to a T. And that time on time again, they deliver goals for no matter which side they turn out for. Sydney Raw this time the beneficiary of their team play.
That first goal, Sydney Raw looking confident as always. And the speed in these passing plays involve everyone. They need to get through the defense. Shady blocked away by Zen, who already has a saviour medal in less than 2 minutes of gameplay. That's how aggressive Sydney Raw have been. Zen, the setup there for Jules, but he just can't commit up. He has to take it himself. Shady knocks it in off the corner, but over the top. 2 members already forward here for the side of Melbourne Order. Sydney Raw have complete possession. Dumbo with the steal over, but now he's pushed forward. He's out of boost. Jules has to make this work. The setup there, like almost a bit of a fake. Express will send it in around the corner. Shady here, perfect angle. CJ. It's hard unpredictability from Sydney Raw.
This is a great game to watch as well, just for the spectators, just because of the individual mechanical skill, but also the team play and passing element as well. When both these two teams get going, it's going to be a real spectacle for anybody. But, I mean, for the moment, it's Sydney Raw very much in control of this, very much putting Melbourne Order under a great deal of pressure, but they're dealing with it well. They've only cracked once and maybe even able to catch out Sydney Raw on the counter.
There's that first shot, though, from Melbourne Order, or at least the first direct shot on net. That was from Zam. The cross comes over to CJ, though, and they're just back at it again. Sydney Raw spending their time in Melbourne Order's defensive side, but Jules, with the reaction to the midfield pass, ends up making it a massive clear. Order giving back over possession to the Raw now. Sometimes you feel like you can't do this, but Dumbo plays the patient game, plays it well. Jules comes forward. Now the Raw just using possession again, putting that momentum back on. The demo's there onto Express. Zen able to push back up. What a pass to Dumbo. Sets it up off the backboard. Jules coming in hot. 1, 2, 3 denied. Different from the Raw. A blocked by CJ as well. And look at the pace. They just set it back up off the backboard. Speed is here once more. Express comes in, gets demoed, but through the smoke, it's off the backboard once again.
This is a great sequence of play from both these two teams. Just displaying that ability to pass, but also just sniff out opportunities as well. They didn't result in a goal for either team, but expect more of the same.
Jules looking for the ground pitch as he comes back down after struggling to retrieve it. Sydney Raw push it back forward. A minute left remaining. Hits the roof back down. 1 goal, the only thing that separates. You can see how aggressively they push up the field. Sometimes their defense can be the backbone that doesn't save them. Express angling. CJ comes back in. 40 seconds. Big clear here from Melbourne Order. Jules centers it over to Zen. He's wide. Dumbo to retrieve, but look how far they've pushed up. No one's in front of that net. It's going to be a struggle to recover. Zen, the last one. Or maybe the first. 20 seconds with that massive clear, but Express deteriorates the chances of Order. One last attacking play, Jim.
One last chance to get themselves on the score, and they do it. Jules sneaks that one in, top corner. And it didn't look like it was going anywhere but the post, but he's caught everybody surprised. Most importantly, the Sydney Raw defense.
When does that ever happen? Just rolls to the inside rather than bouncing back. And it was just only that small fine point. And Melbourne Order, they equalise somehow in this game. Jules is set up as well. Hang on. Not done just yet. Off the attack, Express lobs it. 1 second remaining. Melbourne Order, they'll eventually drop it down and we're overtime in game 1 again.
I mean, other than that goal, there wasn't really much for Melbourne Order to latch onto, but they've got a chance here. They've got a hope that they can take the first game.
Zen able to push it back up. Maybe the attack starts here for Melbourne Order. Off the side, Zen with the angle. Great defense and recovery there from Express. Jules towards net once again. And it's Shady from the wing. What can be done here on the attack? Raw have gotten through the defensive line, but Jules just clears it out. Bit more time now here from Raw. But the challenges again working out well. Express loses the ball, even though that demo comes through off the backboard. There's not too much defense to miss there from Raw. CJ eventually recovers back in. Zen just directly on net. Good communication there from Raw. They leave it, but CJ can't get the second touch.
Having to do some defending right now too, Melbourne Order. because that could transition out. Sorry, Sydney Raw having to do some defending, that is. Melbourne Order really starting to try and tighten the vice grip they have in attack.
CJ turns out to be an infield and defensive pass. They rotate back up. Shady sends it to CJ. Close call. Order continue to hold on. They turn it into a counter-attack, as the old Order used to do. Pitch out of the wall. Jules waiting in the midfield, the touch forward. Dubbo will get the clear, but he's going to be contested up here. Eventually they leave it. Zen sets it up off the wall. Jules is here, blocked away by CJ. Look at the defense there. It doesn't exist. The counter-attack from Raw begins game one.
And that is a great punish too on numbers being pushed up the field to try and get themselves that goal. Melbourne Order. Express was waiting to be released with that pass, and it's just fantastic transition from defense to counter-attack. Sydney Raw, they looked under the pump for a little bit there, particularly when Melbourne Order got going. They were looking very threatening, but it was just that overextension in attack that really cost them in the end.
But is it going to be similar to the Chiefs, where Chiefs had, you know, the game one and game two, which felt like they were warming up, they were moving into the series, and then it just extends from there to a point of being uncontested? Uncontested? That's the word I was looking for. I think today, Jim, it is going to be a case of what game 2 and 3 looks like here for Order. If it looks any similar to game 1, well then there's potential. There's definitely potential here, but a very different feeling to the semi-finals as to what we just experienced.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I think, you know, both these two teams were playing very forward, very positive. It wasn't as though Melbourne Order weren't without shots. Jules sneaking that one in the end there. He had 4 shots in the game. In the end, he only converted 1, but I mean, that just speaks to me that you know, Melbourne Order are in the right mindset for this.
Well, the mindset is important here in the Gfinity Elite Series. We are going to take a short break. When we return, it's Raw and Melbourne Order for game number 2.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Calamari.
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 Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare iced coffee.
You're thinking it's a nice time to be alive here at the Gfinity Elite Series. Why? Because we're into the semi-finals, into our second semi-final here. Gymnesto, Hysterics. Game 2 coming up, Jim. And what are your thoughts?
Look, this game is going to be making me feel alive because I think in this particular instance now, game number 2, it's a best of 7. We've already seen these two teams, I guess, blow any cobwebs out. They know what to expect from one another, but I feel as though Melbourne Order, they need to get themselves a little bit more involved in this match. We saw some good passages of passing play, but we know that they can do better. We know that they can do better, and I think in terms of what they can bring to the table, if they get that going, Sydney Raw, they're going to be in a bit of strife.
Well, Sydney Raw right now, Jim, they're a bit of a handful coming through into this series. And in game number 2, we're going to find out how deadly they can be. Let's see the warm-up process. Let's see more of the semi-finals here at Gfinity.
You were just waiting for me to palm off to you, weren't you?
I really were. Just
finger on the pulse.
Oh, we're getting there, Jim. We're getting there.
We've got you under the thumb.
Sydney Raw already with that game of confidence in play. A good touch there by CJ. Order stuck on the defense to start things off. Look at the intercept there. A quick shot from Shady. CJ with the infield over to Shady again. But intercepted well. This is where Order needs to strike true, but already defensive clear doesn't turn into the offense. Express comes back in, right in front of net. The drop down, the setup there. Read well, but CJ still able to bring it in. Shady's still here. What a crossover to CJ, but he just can't connect. So Order get left off the hook. Can they turn this around?
They just kept that attack going and going and going, and that speaks to their ability to just sniff out passes. But again, Sydney Raw are coming at that net. And they can't quite stop the tide that is coming. Melbourne Order, they had to crack there. And again, Sydney Raw, they're looking the goods.
It's like having takeout for breakfast, lunch and dinner. You know it's so naughty. You know it's probably not good for you, but you do it anyway. And that's what the Raw do up the field. They go, this could go so bad, but you know what? Let's just go for it. And it feels so darn good. 1-0 there, Gymnesto. And Melbourne Order, again, are under the pump.
And I mean, hopefully things don't go stale for Melbourne Order now because they need to get themselves back into this quite quickly too. Sydney Raw are a team that can really they're quite restrictive in their play. They can really start to grind you down with the way that they attack and move throughout this particular instance. But Jake, Melbourne Order,
yes,
they need to get their passing game going. They've been very, very flustered early on. It's only early on in the piece though. They've still got plenty of time to work their way back in, but Sydney Raw, they're here for a purpose.
Love it when you say my name, Jim. Fills me with confidence. Confidence that Sydney Raw have right now as well. Someone's obviously said Cameron a couple of times to kick us off.
Why the sudden change?
Melbourne Order stuck on the attack this time. Not really stuck to be the word using, but in front of net, there's an opening. Jules has to get through CJ, and he does. A misplay there from the Raw on the defensive side.
Yeah, just this last defensive touch for the pass there, it falls short. Shady was coming in for that, and Jules is there waiting, and he will take that one with open arms. And that maybe a swing in the momentum for Melbourne Order. Just a mistake there for Sydney Raw, uncharacteristic.
Well, Jim, I think we'll find out soon how this game goes. Good defense there from Dumbo, but very different from Tasmania, where CJ comes from at the moment. It's not raining goals right now. It is simply a sprinkle. So much like the weather of Melbourne. CJ taking the ball himself all the way through. It's one apiece. How long does it stay that way? Express with the crossover to Shady, denied. Dumbo, good defense once again, but keep asking the question, what happens from here? CJ brings the ball through. A good touch there. Shady pops it up. Jules expecting so.
Melbourne Order, they release themselves now with a wave of attack, but it's been great work so far from Melbourne Order to just absorb these waves of attack from Sydney. And they need to start creating something for themselves again, because both these two teams, they haven't really created any clear-cut chances whatsoever, have they, Jake?
No, they haven't, but opportunity there with the pass play through the midfield. Denied and blocked again. Defense strong from Sydney Raw. Express here receives the ball, but decides to hit in the corner. Shady's up for it in time, but it's a fast one. Angle from CJ. Wide once more. Sydney Raw struggling with some of these plays, but keeping the pressure on. And it's no doubt going to be a close one here in game 2. Receiving the pass is Dumbo from the corner. He picks up Boost on the way. Great timing there, but he gets demoed. That demolition means bad news bears here for Order. The pitch out of the corner. Express comes back in. Good commitment there from the Raw. Sets up Shady from the backboard. He can't get the double touch, but CJ's here. Sends it on packing. And the defense is like the island of Tasmania where he belongs.
Well, he didn't leave his teammate out on an island there, did he, though? I mean, Shady just double touching it, making sure that the defense had absolutely no idea what was happening, and it set it up nicely for CJ to just pop that into the back of the net. They find themselves a 2-1 lead with a minute to play, and Melbourne Order need to find a reply, and it's going to be quick.
Boy, how does that go in? Off the kickoff, a good one from Melbourne Order. Some of these unexpected goals are keeping things tight.
Off the roof as well.
Oh, CJ tried to recover. That's so hard to recover from that point as well. But a great, I guess, finisher maybe to the second round. 1 minute left remaining. Anywhere from here, that's where the game could go.
That's right. That goal only took 4 seconds. That's a clear indicator of how quickly things can change for you in a game that is so tightly contested.
Save there from CJ. Pretty straightforward stuff. A massive clear from Express. Order. The reaction is to send it to the wing. A pass play begins. Jules looking to end it. CJ reacts forward once more. Zen from the corner. He does get the touch off, which will set him up from the corner for the infield. Dumbo here for the angle. Shady. It's Express in the end who saves it. Slimline chance. Jules for the shot again. Zen pops it all the way up. 20 seconds remaining from the side. Shady to CJ. Express with the wing. The pressure's on here. 2 goals apiece. Raw making it their opportunity here. Before it goes into overtime, CJ's wide. This just means Shady can come back in. The pop down to Express. What a pass! What a pass! Always expect the unexpected from the Raw.
Oh, Express and Shady, these two, the 1-2 punch combo, it delivers again. And at the right time for Sydney Raw, they find themselves that potentially winning goal. I mean, there's 3 seconds left. Anything can happen, but I think they've done enough.
There are so many surprises when you go up against the Raw, and that was one of them. Dumbo, he'll lob it up to no one, and the Raw lead by 2. Cameron says, get me some water. That one needs to be a thirst quencher, Jim. That was a great way to finish for the Raw.
I mean, even then, looking at Melbourne Order, they were creating chances too going forward. Jules was the only one really having shots. He had 5 shots on goal. Obviously, you know, in terms of what they put on the board, 2 of them went in. And, you know, Sydney Raw were looking very, very comfortable in some passages of play. But it was a really to and fro game, wasn't it? It wasn't really any clear-cut chances for quite some time in the first phase of play.
I think we just see so many ingenious pass plays from the Raw, but on the side of Order, they always keep them second-guessing. From Jules here as well, some good individual performances. Zen joined the ranks too.
That he did, and I mean, in terms of, you know, Sydney Raw, you know that they've got goals in them. Every time that they take the pitch, they're bound to score goals. It's very, very, I guess, rare that they're restricted to, you know, a nil scoreline. And again, even at the right time, the Express Shady combo, it delivered. These guys are so good at passing.
There's definitely no dominance here just yet. However, we are going to throw back to Luke on the desk after that epic game too.
Yeah, so look, it's still in Raw's favour. Do you think Order can get back in this, guys?
I mean, it's a thing that could happen, but I'm just going to back Raw the whole way. Like, that performance has been really strong for them, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
Those 2 games were pretty close. They were back and forth, and I think the Raw, they're getting into these positions where they're taking each other out of the game. They're going for these big plays that are double commits, and Order are just playing it simple. I think if they continue that, there might be a chance to take some victories away and get the series back into contention.
So you're changing your prediction based on that?
No.
No. Standing around. Okay, well, right now, if you're watching on 10 Peach, you are set to leave our Rocket League. Rocket League? Yeah, I'm making up a new game, guys. It's Rocket League. Rocket League coverage right now, but you can continue watching live at gfinytyesports.com.au or see a full replay at 10play.com.au. If you're staying with us, we'll be back with more semi-final action in just a moment.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Calamari.
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 Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare iced coffee.
Gfinity Elite Series here. I just found out you need to drink 4 litres of water a day. But maybe Jim Nessa will talk about that later because there's more important things. This is such a close series, and I don't think I expected it to be.
I mean, today's full of watershed moments, isn't it?
Oh, it really is.
Yeah. Particularly for yourself.
Not the torture method, right?
No.
Just double checking.
Clarify that one.
We're off TV, so now it just goes to like PG-13.
Yeah, we'll keep it that way. But I mean, in terms of the gameplay today, I mean, I'm expecting some fast, some furious action, but so far this game has been delivered, but I don't really feel as though there's, a clear, I guess, performer in this series. Both these two teams have had their moments, but Sydney Raw have got the upper hand for now. But I feel as though, if they do slip up, and I think, there have maybe been over, potentially, if they're not.
That's the captain. That's how you motivate your team as captain, you got to keep it fresh. You got to keep it nice. Moving into game 3, let's hope we don't see any of that mid-goal. We get into it once more. And by the way, waterboarding was the method I was talking about. But, keeping it fresh as usual. CJ,
I'm just going to
Shady's just like, whatever. Mid-bump onto Dumbo. Messy start here for the Raw. But, again, keeping it fresh seems to be the ideology moving into this one.
Maximum freshness. 3.7 litres of freshness, to be precise.
Too much. Jules popped down. What a pass there. Unfortunately, Order just didn't clue on. CJ leaves it. He has no boost, but he's having fun with it anyway.
It's on that H2 go.
Express popping it in off the wall. Shady will leave it for now. Dumbo off the wing. A good touch there. Order might be able to play with this Express. Playing so precariously off this wall. Manages to get it through 2 attackers. A very funny start to this game. Order trying to turn that one around, but counter clears. And Raw back in control. This net could be open. The touch by CJ. Not bad.
Very, very end-to-end so far. And there's been chances, but they haven't been taken. So both these two teams are struggling to find some consistency early on. And I think that's really important that they find consistency, strike first, Sydney Raw. They've had the upper hand, as I said, in the series thus far, but it has been tightly contested. They do need to put Melbourne Order away somewhat because I feel as though if they've given a glimmer of hope, they can take that, they can run with that, and they can certainly put goals on the board.
Some great passing though, Jim Nesso. Once again, Shady's here off the backboard. Can't be saved. And the Raw keep it fresh. Through all 3, Shady does it himself.
That's it, the hits of summer 2018. That's how fresh we're going.
So fresh. 1-0 here for the Raw. Off of the kickoff. Melbourne have done much, much more though. Getting through the intercepts. Dumbo has done exactly that. Jules missing the touch. That would have been it. Over the top, Shady. It'll go wide here, Jim, but it might not matter. CJ for the center, Express for the intercept. Able to pass it through the Raw. Have to now play defense. Shady with a touch away. Zen can't get it in.
My goodness, that was the wispiest touch in front of goal as well, just to keep that away.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh.
What a shot by Express. You expect it to go directly, and he can only play with one angle. But he does the opposite of that, Jim. Plays a riskier shot.
Oh yeah, but make no mistake, he hammers that one home, and that's exactly what Sydney will need. They give themselves a 2-goal lead, but maybe now they can start to find some stability and consistency in this game. As we said, it's been a real struggle, but that is so direct.
Off the kickoff.
Yeah, forces CJ into a save.
The kickoff again, Zen just seems to be glued on to some of these interesting openers. Shady off the wall, Dumbo's the only one in defense. Zen recovers a miss there from CJ. Express will have to bring it back in. Zen manages to dribble it back around. Shady with the rotation here and full take a boost. Zen tries to demo CJ in net. I think that's what the play was about. Dumbo misses the ball, gives more freedom to the Raw. No one's in net. What's going on? Hits the backboard, luckily for Order. But they're still 2 goals down, and they cannot open it up anymore to Raw. Shady's left with an angle like that. 2 minutes remaining.
Crossbar season MVP right now, I feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, Melbourne Order, certainly not without chances. They need to play direct. Zen, definitely an outlet for them. And I feel as though he's been a bit quiet in his 2 matches so far. This 3rd match, he's starting to wake up. His team certainly needs him to as well.
We're asking if Order will return to those finals. The hinges down to this series, the semi-finals. For the first time ever, Raw's in it. For the first time ever, Raw's competing to get themselves into the grand final. They'll be taking on the Chiefs, but we're not there yet. Order seem to be putting up a fight. And there is the headstrong Zen we know and love.
And that is just sustained pressure in front of goals here. And shot after shot, they make it work. They get themselves that goal that they need to just try and swing the momentum back in their favour. Sydney Raw, hopefully not on the back foot.
Zen made it to the finals last time. He wants to join it again. This time with the solo play. This could be it. Another demo onto CJ. Express has already respawned. He's back in. Jules with the clear. Or at least the cross, I should say. Raw on the defensive side. Double touch. Is it there? Zen sets it up for Jules. Ooh. Express has been great in front of this net here, Jim Nesso.
And this last minute, let me tell you, Melbourne Order have woken up. They've been great in front of goals, but they just need to find that next goal, that next conversion, get themselves back on equal pegging.
But all it takes is one play here from the Raw. The clear countered by Shady in the midfield. CJ waiting in that exact same position. Jules loses control. Set up now by Zen. He regains it from the corner. A good demo in front of net. The Raw now might be able to hold this one on. 2-1, 35 seconds. Express here, dodging away. Shady. It won't matter in the end. Zen just has to clear it through. The solo play is going to be stopped. He's run out of boost. Shady gets a bit of a clear. Now needs to follow it up. 20 seconds there. Jules coming in off the backboard ready. Zen keeping it around, but with that challenge here, Shady comes back in. The Raw want to end this game. They want the perfect 3-0 start. As Luke would say, it'd be a 3-0 finish, but it's not up to Luke here. It's up to CJ. Oh. That's the way you do it. And Sydney Raw, they'll take this one 3-0, Jim.
And that 3rd goal putting things beyond doubt for now. And they've given themselves a perfect start. I mean, that being said, though, if you're a Melbourne Order fan, for now, you're hoping for that fairy tale finish, that reverse sweep to come into effect. But Melbourne Order, there's been positive signs so far. It hasn't been enough to crack the Raw, and they take away game number 3.
Match point here to move into the finals. The Raw last time didn't even make it to semis, but you got a brand new roster. Express and Shady, they were your Order champions in Season 1. They've changed rosters. CJ's come in all the way from Tasmania, which is, I mean, I don't know how, you know, Launceston's far away. I still can't say the name properly. Game number 3 was another high-performance game, or a high-edge game, if I dare say.
It was. It was very, very tense for quite a long period of the game there. Shady cracking things open quite nicely. And again, it's just a combination that we've seen so many times before. Shady, Express, Express, Shady. They pass so well. They play together so well. And, I mean, it took a concentrated effort here from Melbourne Order to get that goal and really set things up for a high-tension finish. But they couldn't find that next goal in the end. In fact, it was just Sydney Raw with what, I guess, in the scope of things, didn't really have a consequence, that goal. But in the end, Melbourne Order, they were throwing everything at the end. They couldn't crack Sydney Raw.
Very skillfully done by Sydney Raw in the end. 3-0 start. Order now have to make the reverse sweep to stay in the semi-finals. We're going to find out more after this.
We create machines that make every experience more intense and real. With Intel Core processors so powerful, you can redefine reality. Because the best feature of a gaming machine is the power to make you forget it's there.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Calamari.
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 Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare iced coffee.
Like it's nothing. Come on, better get Good job, team. Good job.
And welcome back to the Gfinity Elite Series here in Hoyts, live in Sydney. My name's Asterix. I'm with Jim Nesso. Game 4, Jim. Cut and dry. I said it at the start. Was I correct?
You were, but I mean, I feel as though there's been times when Melbourne Order have been so close to just getting the ingredients right and getting that recipe correct for cracking Sydney Raw. Sydney Raw, as we said, they're a class side. They've got a lot of experience and they're a very, very tough egg to crack.
I believe that at this point, the confidence has definitely been on the side of Sydney Raw, though. Order maybe second-guessing some of their decisions, some of their moves, but of course, when you go up a squad like Sydney Raw, you have to think, right, these guys are coming in off the world stage. Sure, they didn't have the best performance on the world stage, but they still made it there. Top 10 team in the world. And Sydney Raw is just this team that just looks so fast. And to keep up with them looks like such a challenge.
It does, and does. And I mean, we expected that, Sydney Raw might bring in a very aggressive game style. We've seen them play that in previous weeks. There has been quite a few demolitions on the pitch. There's been quite a few bumps in the back play, and I think that really worked quite well in getting under the skin of some of these teams.
Yeah, I think for Sydney Raw, though, still confidence moving forward. We talked a lot about the implications of this, what a final would look like. And if Sydney Raw could make it through to the finals, and in 4-0 fashion, no doubt, the Chiefs would be scared. Because we look back at league play, we look at what Sydney Raw achieved against the Chiefs, only it was so clean. And we didn't expect that coming through either.
Yeah, I mean, everything about Sydney Raw has looked super clean, other than their fist bumps. That probably needs a little bit of work. But I mean, in terms of the way that they've been playing, they haven't been at their best today, but it's still been enough to get them over the line. I think they definitely would hold themselves to a really high standard of play. And I think they may have not hit that yet. They can't be, I guess, overly critical, though, because it's getting the result.
I think we don't need to be critical just yet, at the very least anyway, because we've still got a game to play. We've still got Melbourne Order in it. They have to make the reverse sweep, which is so difficult, but that does not make it impossible. We find out now, Game 4, and the Raw are on match point, but Order, to keep their dream alive, they have to take that reverse sweep.
Not impossible, though, Jake. We've seen it done a few times before in other situations, other teams, other times. Is it going to be Melbourne Order's fairy tale here today? Get themselves that second grand final berth of the Gfinity Elite Series.
You're joking. Want to start here from the Raw. Thought we're going to see a 1-2-3 again. Control in the air seems to be the way to go. The pass is infield to Zen. A good start there from the Raw. Or, sorry, should I say Order. Can they keep up the pressure on the offense? CJ gets the pass, curves it around from the midfield. It's just clean to see.
That's beautiful. Class performance so far in this match. And I mean, that right there, Shady just looking to set up his captain, looking to set up CJ, and that is the perfect start for Sydney Raw. They want to take this 4-0. They want to make a statement going into the finals. They know Chiefs are sitting here watching in the wings because they're looking to see who they take on next week in that grand final.
Well, it looks like Raw at this point, Gymnast, so you're darn right. Melbourne Order on the defense there. They take the demo. Lucky Dumbo is able to clear it away, but what does this mean for the Raw? It means they're stuck in the midfield, and actually aggression turns on its head with Melbourne Order here. Plenty of time still to get that recovery goal. Dumbo gets the intercept. This is how it begins. Jules, the pinch from the corner. And another pinch from Shady. Ball stays in the corner, but the clear ends up coming through from the Raw once more. This is where the momentum begins for this Sydney side.
All starts here for them. Do Melbourne Order have a counter, though? Do they have an answer to this? They have a period here where they could put pressure on the net, but Sydney Raw, again, are meeting that ball well. They're getting out. They're getting to the challenges. And they need to be because, as we said, Melbourne Order, they're a fast side.
They're backing the ball into the wall. The steal away again. The Raw putting the pressure on. Dumbo just takes it away from their hands, and so he should. Any freedom is going to result in another goal for the Raw. Express off the wall. Great infield to Shady. He misses. Express is here aggressively up too. Time back over to the side of Order, but speaking of which, it's running out. 3 minutes remaining.
Melbourne Order just searching for that goal, but here comes Shady. Again, he looks so dangerous. They don't know whether to look for that pass coming from him or not. He's just gone directly for that himself because he had nobody marking him, nobody on him, nobody challenging him.
He's going, that was, that was easy. Say, that was easy. 2 goals for Shady, or for Sydney Raw at the very least, excuse me. The past 2 goals from Shady have been neat on that note. Now off the backboard Order, they just can't seem to get through. CJ takes it away well. 2 goals for Order against Order. Is that just going to be it? CJ, the pop down. They're having fun.
But they are, and again, another direct attempt on net. But, I mean, that just speaks to how well Sydney Raw have gotten into the heads of Melbourne Order. They were just hanging off Shady. They're looking for the pass. It never came. He just took things himself. And, I mean, that plays to his advantage entirely because they're not expecting huge individual plays from them. They're normally more a team-based side. And those passing plays have worked for them well, but if they give you opportunity like that, why not take it?
Jules trying to direct away that traffic. But doesn't manage to do so. You can see Sydney Raw just playing the ball from whichever angle they want. Jules gets it through the defense there. Great for Order. Can they get another?
It's exactly what the doctor ordered for Order. And Jules there. Great touch by him to just beat out the defender. They get themselves a much-needed goal, at least in that sense now. It doesn't feel as though things are bearing down on them from a Sydney Raw sense. Just trying to fight back for some of that momentum.
Well, some say that the doctor for Order is in-house. He becomes a doer, not a donor. Shady the pass to CJ right upfield. Defense needed there from Jules. Shady comes back in, steal away by Dumbo. Can Order make something of this? The infield there. Zen pops forward, Jules hanging back. Dumbo leaves it. Trying to fake around, getting the heads of Raw, but you know what's going on here. CJ to Shady again. Express goes up. The ball bounces down. Jules only just saves it. CJ brings it back forward. Attack continues here for the Raw.
Is that the moment, though? Is that the moment things turn around for Melbourne Order? That save could be the difference maker in the end, but they need to absorb some pressure. Again, these waves of attack from Sydney Raw, unrelenting, keeping that ball locked in to that third and final.
CJ does not have any boost, so maybe it stops there. They do end up recovering it. Shady with the pass back. Dumbo steals it away. CJ can't get anything done. Jules should be able to have a shot here. Pops it up there on top. Never mind. It's Raw holding on. 40 seconds remaining. Dumbo lobs it up. Can Order get one on the board? It comes down to this moment here off the backboard. CJ ends up clearing it massively. And Raw have so much control here in this 4th game. It's going to take a miracle from Melbourne Order.
They've got time to perform it, though. That's the thing, and anything can happen in Rocket League. Oh,
great defense there from Sand, but 10 seconds remaining, Jim. It's going to be a hard ask. Staying around this side of the field. They pop it up. It's Dumbo with the infield. Jules doesn't get the shot. And Order, their hopes and dreams are returning to the final are done. It's Raw with the 4-0. And it's Sydney v Sydney in our Gfinity Season 2 finals.
And that is a class performance from them. They won't be happy with the fact that the way that they played was probably not to the best of their ability, but they got the job done in the end. Melbourne Order, there was glimpses of brilliance from them, but it wasn't enough to crack Sydney Raw. Sydney Raw, there's a lot of experience on that side, and it showed today, and that's exactly what they needed to book their place in that grand final.
And it wasn't as close as the 4-0 suggests. There was so many moments there from Order where you're going, if they can just get on top of this, if they can just get to the ball faster and react to Order, to Sydney Raw, excuse me, then there would be something. But some of these goals, you're going, what the heck? How do you react to this? And I guess we'll ask more questions as they get towards the grand final.
I mean, that goal right there, Shady, just taking opportunity when it was presented to him as well. I mean, that is what he has been known for as well. He's always looking for, I guess, that next phase of play, but the next phase of play presented itself. And I mean, as we said, Sydney Raw, they booked their place in the grand final. They didn't, they didn't play the usual standard, but that set things up nicely for next weekend when they take on the Chiefs, because they know that they need to go to that next level.
It was such a dominant performance there by Sydney Raw. Unfortunately, Order will not be returning to the final, but we got a Sydney v Sydney matchup heading into next week for the Season 2 clash of the ages there. However, Ash is standing by as always to wrap things up.
Thanks, Hysterics. Shady, congratulations. That was a solid 4-0 win. What do you think your secret was to winning today?
Yeah, I think we were just a little bit more level-headed today. We took our time. I don't feel like we played as best as we could have, but we got the results, all that matters.
Personally, for yourself, how do you think that you played today?
Yeah, no, I felt pretty comfortable today. I got a couple of clean goals and some good passes. So, yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
It's a Sydney Derby next week. You guys are up against Chiefs. Do you have what it takes to win the grand final?
Yeah, we've had it over them the past 4 times, so just if we're looking at history, then it should be a good one. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to the matchup regardless. Is there anything specific that you're hoping to work on in the lead-up to the grand final next week? No, we're just going to go back and keep doing the same thing we've been doing. Rotations, rotations, rotations. All right, thank you so much for the chat. Congrats on the win, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Back to you guys.
Yeah, give it up for Sydney Raw, Sydney Grand Final, and see you later, Melbourne Order. Unfortunately, let's launch right now to MVP votes, thanks to Astro headsets. Okay, it's MVP time between Raw and Order. Mr. Tom Snedden, take us through your selections.
I think first person I would look at is Jules. He pretty much topped every single stat for his team, and that's a strong performance, especially when you're coming off the back end.
And second choice, it went down to Express, the big player at the very beginning of that series, scoring a bunch of goals.
I think, though, the man of the match, I think we all agree, has to be Shady. He was an absolute monster. The way he set up so many consecutive goals for his teammates, but also some of the finishes that he had absolutely blew me away.
I've been really impressed with his growth across the season, and today was the real standout of that. He was involved in 8 goals across the 4-game series. Incredible performance, so important to the attack.
Yeah, I think there was only 10 goals total, so that's an 80% goal participation, which is incredible.
What a player going to next week's grand final. Shady is our Astro headsets MVP for the second semi-final between Raw and Order, all thanks to these sweet Astro headsets. Ding. Here is a look at today's semi-final results. This is how it played out, guys, right in front of you. So you can see, yeah, 4-1. So both pretty one-sided games, but Sydney Chiefs taking out Brisbane Deceptors and Sydney Raw taking out Melbourne Order. Both on 4-0 and 4-1 there. So this is how it's happening next week. Confirmation of next week's grand final. We have, what's going on there? Oh, that's right, yeah. I was like, they're not playing again. That can't be right. And then it's over that side. We all worked it out together. Sydney Chiefs taking on Sydney Raw in next week's grand final. Look, guys, do you have a prediction of how this is going to play out? Tom, I'll go to you first.
I mean, historically, we've got to look at Raw because they have won like nearly 5 back-to-back matches in tournament plays against Chiefs. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a fantastic match. There's a lot of history between these two teams. Real grudge match. And I think I might have to go for the Chiefs next week. I think they're looking good today. And I still don't know who it's going to be, but I'll back the Chiefs.
I think it's going to be an awesome match anyway. Definitely don't miss that. Also later today, it's semi-final time in Street Fighter 5. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in Australia. Sick tune in the background, dudes. Then next Saturday, our Counter-Strike Grand Final is at 3 p.m. and then we'll be back for Rocket League Decider next Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Don't forget, you can follow us on socials at Gfinity AU. You get notified when we go live on CSGO, Rocket League, and Street Fighter V for all the Grand Finals next weekend. That's it for our Rocket League semi-finals. We have our teams. We have our Grand Final coming up. It's going to be huge. Thank you so much to my wonderful co-host, Ash, David, and Tom on the desk. Of course, our wonderful casters, Jake and Jim. We'll see you next week for the Rocket League Grand Final next Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Until then, it's bye for now.